Chapter 236. After dinner, Yi Hua released the confinement of the two women and got a bed and placed it in the office. The bed will be Dong Huang Baiji's bedroom for the time being. Right now, Dong Huang Baiji was accompanying her daughter. It could be said that this was the first time that Dong Huang Baiji was wholeheartedly accompanying her daughter. On the other hand, Qingya was brought into the bedroom by Yi Hua. To be more precise, Qingya was carried into the bedroom by Yi Hua, and Qingya was even crying and throwing a tantrum in the bedroom, causing Yi Hua to feel extremely miserable. Yi Hua could only cast a spell on Qingya, and only then did Qingya fall asleep peacefully. If it was possible, Yi Hua wanted to directly cast a spell to turn Qingya into the kind of woman that he wanted. However, if he were to use it, Qingya would no longer be Qingya. She would just be an empty shell without a soul, and this was not what Yi Hua wanted. Lying on the comfortable bed, Yi Hua hugged onto Qingya as usual and lightly wiped away the tear stains on the corner of Qingya's eyes. "Why don't you listen to me? If you're a little more obedient, I won't bully you. You still dare to say such foolish words like wanting a divorce? If it was in the past, I would have smacked your buttocks until they were swollen, and you even froze my card. You are truly a little mischievous." While speaking, Yi Hua himself started laughing. Qingya is just so charming. Even if she gets angry, Yi Hua would still like her. As for his feelings towards Dong Huang Baiji, Yi Hua didn't have a deep impression of her. He just felt sorry for what happened in the past, and at the same time, he was also thankful that Dong Huang Baiji gave birth to Ali. Just based on this point alone, Yi Hua would definitely protect Dong Huang Baiji. After all, Dong Huang Baiji was already his woman. How could he possibly leave her outside? That was impossible. Within the office, Dong Huang Baiji was currently hugging onto her daughter as she slept. Ever since Ali was born, she had never hugged onto her daughter to sleep like this. As a mother, Dong Huang Baiji truly felt ashamed and a failure. However, after this incident, Dong Huang Baiji decided that she would often accompany her daughter and let her feel the warmth of a mother. Looking at Ali, who was nestled in her bosom, Dong Huang Baiji revealed out a slight smile. The smile of an empress is truly incomparably beautiful. Gulp, the empress was still a human, after all. Without spiritual power she too would be hungry. Since arriving here yesterday, other than having a pancake in the morning, the rest of his food had been alcohol. He didn't eat anything at noon or at night. Now that he was in a better mood, he was hungry. Dong Huang Baiji covered her daughter's body with the blanket, then got down from the bed to see if there was anything to eat. Voidless Realm's empress was just like a little thief as she searched for food everywhere. However, there was nothing to eat in the entire office. Stealthily opening the door to take a look, only to discover that Yi Hua wasn't there. Thus, I might as well go downstairs to look for Yi Hua. On the bar counter, other than wine, there was only more wine. Right now, Dong Huang Baiji did not want to drink wine. If not, Ali would say that there was a smell of wine on her body. There should be something to eat here, right? Dong Huang Baiji walked towards the leisure bar storage area. After searching for a long time, he still couldn't find anything to eat, only drinks. What Yi Hua didn't know was that Yi Hua had already hidden away the spicy gluten to prevent Qing Yutong from secretly eating spicy gluten every day. There should be some food in this storage room, right? I am about to starve to death. It had been a long time since Dong Huang Baiji experienced the feeling of hunger. After all, with the support of spiritual energy, even if she didn't eat for an entire month, it would still be fine. He opened the door of the storage room. It was pitch black inside. He touched the edge of the door. Pa! When the light was turned on, Dong Huang Baiji was immediately overjoyed. Master Kang's instant noodles. And there were even boxes of them. Open the package and take out a bucket. Finally, I don't have to suffer from hunger anymore. This damnable Yi Hua, to actually make me, the empress, come out in the middle of the night to look for food. Holding on to the instant noodles, Dong Huang Baiji turned around and walked out of the restaurant. Suddenly, Dong Huang Baiji stopped her footsteps and slowly turned her head around to look at a corner. Why does this mahogany box look so familiar? Walking forward, Dong Huang Baiji opened one of the boxes, and inside the box was all gold. Looking at the mark on the gold, Dong Huang Baiji's expression changed. Soon after, Dong Huang Baiji opened the other boxes, and when she saw the god leaf fan, she was certain. So it was Yi Hua who intercepted and killed my people. If not, why would these betrothal gifts be here? This bastard actually killed my people. Yihua! Get down here! Dong Huang Baiji roared loudly and clenched her fists tightly, looking like she was going to fight Yihua to the death. Yihua, who was on the bed, wrinkled his brows. What is this woman doing again? Immediately disappearing from the bed, Yihua arrived at the storage room. Not sleeping in the middle of the night. What are you doing here? Yihua stood behind Dong Huang Baiji and asked. Dong Huang Baiji fiercely punched towards Yihua's face. Unfortunately, the speed of the punch was too slow, and Yihua grabbed onto it. Dong Huang Baiji. Enough is enough. Don't think that just because you are my woman, you can be rude to me. Yihua tightly wrinkled his brows and lectured. Where did all these things come from? Dong Huang Baiji's eyes revealed out an ominous glint. This man is taking revenge on me for marrying someone else, which is why he snatched the betrothal gifts and killed my people. Yihua took a look at the red wooden box at the side and said faintly, What does where they came from have to do with you? Quickly go back and sleep. You bastard. Did you snatch them because you know that they are my betrothal gifts? Dong Huang Baiji questioned. Yihua's expression immediately became serious. Betrothal gifts? You want to marry someone? That's right, but I am not marrying someone, I am marrying someone. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out. Yihua immediately felt bad, and the strength of his hand became stronger and stronger. Dong Huang Baiji could feel the strength of Yihua's hand, and her wrist felt like it was going to break, but she did not make a sound. You want to make me a cuckold? Yihua's ice-cold voice seemed to have come out from hell, causing one's heart to tremble with fear. That's right, I want to make you a cuckold. What are you going to do about it? Yihua's face was slightly twitching, and his gaze was changing, seemingly wanting to return to the state he was in 5 years ago. Looking at Yihua's current state, Dong Huang Baiji felt a bit scared from the bottom of her heart. Suddenly, Yihua let go of Dong Huang Baiji's hand and fell onto the ground powerlessly. The demon that had been in a coma for 5 years was slowly waking up, and the remaining humanity that was left in him was slowly being devoured by the demon. This woman actually dared to make me a cuckold. Damn it! Everyone has to die. Dong Huang Baiji started panicking, because Yihua's current state was just like him going berserk. However, even though it felt great to see Yihua like this, she still couldn't bear to do it. Yihua! What happened to you? Dong Huang Baiji hurriedly helped Yihua up and asked nervously. Yihua stared fixedly at Dong Huang Baiji and asked, You made me a cuckold? You snatched my betrothal gifts. Who am I going to find to make you a cuckold? Dong Huang Baiji was speechless. Is there no logic at all? Yihua was startled, and the demon within his body gradually went back to sleep. His humanity had completely won. In that instant just now, Yihua thought that Dong Huang Baiji had already made him a cuckold. This is completely unacceptable, and I even had the heart to kill everyone. However, I was mistaken. I only had this thought, but I didn't succeed. However, even if I had this thought, it wouldn't work. Chapter 237. Pulling Dong Huang Baiji into his embrace, Yihua asked coldly, Why do you want to cuckold me? Dong Huang Baiji struggled in Yihua's embrace, but it was useless. I want to cuckold you, you ungrateful fellow. Yihua pressed Dong Huang Baiji onto his thighs, then raised his hand and slapped. Ah! Dong Huang Baiji couldn't help but let out a moan. This is truly shocking. You bastard, you hit me again. Pa! Ah! Yihua said coldly. Baiji, if not for Ali, I would have smacked your butt until it swells. Go ahead and hit me then. I will tell my daughter about it later. Let's see how her father hits her mother. Dong Huang Baiji's words seemed to be revealing some information, causing Yihua to stop. Adding on Dong Huang Baiji's concerned expression just now, Yihua felt that this woman definitely still had feelings for him. Baiji, do you still like me? Yihua asked curiously. Even if I like a ghost, I won't like you. A woman who says one thing but means another, she's the same as Qing Ya. Yihua turned around and pressed Dong Huang Baiji onto the ground, then immediately kissed her. Dong Huang Baiji opened her eyes wide and struggled with all her might. However, facing the terrifying Yihua, she was completely useless. Yihua's sinful hand stretched into Dong Huang Baiji's body and moved around Dong Huang Baiji's delicate body. Every inch of Dong Huang Baiji's body felt extremely good to the touch. Compared to 3 years ago, Dong Huang Baiji's body was much more supple and supple. This situation made Donghuang Baiji think back to that night 3 years ago. That night was filled with both pain and happiness. Baiji, you are the same as 3 years ago, feeling fast. Yihua took out his sinful hand and waved it in front of Donghuang Baiji's eyes. Donghuang Baiji didn't know where she got the strength from, but she pushed Yihua to the side, then ran out while covering her face. Yihua didn't chase after her, he sat on the ground and laughed lightly. Seems like my charm is still the same as back then. Donghuang Baiji, who ran upstairs, crawled into her blanket. Her face was extremely beautiful with a blush. Thinking back to what happened just now, why am I so useless? Originally, I wanted to settle the score with him, but in the end, I was even feeling. I am so embarrassed. At this moment, the Empress was like a little woman in love. That kind of coquettish pout and bashful anger was especially charming. Actually, for some reason, when she saw those big red wooden chests, she felt a little happy. Hearing that the office door was opened, Donghuang Baiji wrinkled her brows. Why did he come in? Could it be that he wanted to? Bastard, my daughter is still asleep. He heard the door being closed again and the footsteps leaving. Donghuang Baiji raised her head slightly and took a look. This person came in and then went out? What was the meaning of this? Looking at the instant noodles on the coffee table, Donghuang Baiji immediately understood. The Empress, have lost all of my face. In any case, he had already lost all his face. What's the big deal? Let's make some noodles first. She didn't expect him to prepare a super large ham sausage. He was quite attentive. Crazy hints. The fragrance of the instant noodles quickly woke up Donghuang Li, who was asleep. Whoosh, seeing that her mommy was eating noodles, Donghuang Li rubbed her big eyes. Mommy, what are you eating? Mommy is eating instant noodles. Donghuang Baiji felt very awkward, being caught by her daughter while eating instant noodles secretly. Ali, come over, Mommy will feed you. Ali, come over, Mommy will feed you. Donghuang Li, who had tasted instant noodles for the first time, felt that it was great. The noodles are elastic and tenacious, and the taste is also super fragrant. In just a few moments, the mother and daughter finished eating a bucket of instant noodles. Mommy, Ali isn't full, I'm hungry, Donghuang Li pouted her small mouth. Donghuang Baiji also wanted to eat instant noodles. She wasn't full at all. Let's go down and get some, but Ali can't tell Daddy, if not Daddy will be very fierce. Ali will keep it a secret. The mother and daughter secretly ran downstairs and brought back 2 more buckets of instant noodles. The fragrance is so fragrant. Yihua, who was hugging onto Qingya, laughed lightly. This Donghuang Baiji is a bit interesting. She suits my taste. The torturous day was finally over, and at the same time, a new day had arrived. Who knows what will happen on this day? Voidless Realm's morning was just like a fairyland. Clouds and mist lingered around the place, and spiritual energy was abundant. It was an exceptionally good place to train. Right now, within the palace hall, the 8 elders had a grave expression on their faces. The throne was completely empty, and it was truly making them anxious. I think that there is something wrong with this matter. Yuanda shouted out angrily. Xinghan stroked his beard and said, Brother Yuan, why do you say such a thing? The little prince has mysteriously disappeared, and now, the Empress has also disappeared. Is this still not enough to prove that something is wrong? Yuanda shouted out with his hands behind his back. The Empress has already disappeared for an entire day. How can I not be worried about such a big matter? What Brother Yuan said is extremely true. I also think that the disappearance of the Empress and the little prince isn't a coincidence. Most probably, someone planned this. Perhaps it might be that group of robbers. He Xian agreed with Yuanda's opinion. Xinghan shook his head. The Empress is very strong. Who would be able to kidnap the Empress? Most probably, the Empress missed her daughter very much and went out to look for her daughter. Everyone remained silent. Everyone would rather believe in this speculation. No one wanted anything to happen to the Empress. An imperial guard suddenly ran into the palace hall and shouted out, Ying families Ying Shang and Ying Kongsha request to meet the Empress. Yuanda waved his hand, and the imperial guard left the palace respectfully. This is great. Where are we going to find an Empress? Yuanda stomped his feet angrily. Of all times, the Empress had gone missing. Everyone remained silent. He Xian said in a deep voice, How many forces in this world do you think can kidnap the Empress? Ing family, Ji family. Everyone blurted out. He Xian continued, this time, Ing family is definitely here to demand an explanation. However, the Empress isn't here. Can they be willing? He Xian. You are saying that Ing family kidnapped the Empress, and then deliberately came here, just to find an excuse to start a war? Yuan De exclaimed. He Xian nodded his head, but still said, maybe I am thinking too much. I would rather kill the wrong person than let them go. I might as well take their lives. Xing Han was also a cruel and merciless person. He Xian shook his head and said indifferently, if the Empress was really kidnapped by the Ing family, killing them would also put the Empress in danger. If the Empress wasn't kidnapped by them, but by the Ji family, it would be a situation of watching the tigers fight. In that case, we can't kill the people of Ing family anyway? Yuan De sneered. Without the Empress to take charge of the overall situation, it was really a mess. He Xian nodded his head. Yuan De, you come with me to meet the Empress first and appease her. After all, if the Empress was in such a situation, her reputation would be in danger. Not only would her reputation be in danger, everyone in the cultivation world was talking about the Empress. Behind this illegitimate daughter, was there a degeneration of morals, or was there a distortion of human nature? No matter what, although no one said it out loud, but it had already spread. The Empress's man was really awesome. Chapter 238. Yuan De and He Xian came to the living room to welcome the two from the Ing family. Ing Shang and Ing Kongsher did not put on stern expressions. Ing Shang was in a normal state, while Ing Kongsher looked excited. He was about to see the Empress, and just thinking about it made him really excited. When the four of them met, it was inevitable that they would be polite to each other. Ing Kongsher couldn't hold himself back anymore and asked, when is the Empress coming? He Xian smiled. Young Master Ing, the Empress is currently in seclusion, and it will be a very long time before she comes out. Does that mean that the Empress isn't willing to see us? Ing Shang's attitude instantly changed. This was clearly an excuse. Ing Kongsher hurriedly said, it doesn't matter. We'll just wait. Shut up. You good for nothing. Ing Shang sternly rebuked. Why did his elder brother ask him to bring such an idiot with him? With a gloomy expression, Yuan De said coldly, forgive me for speaking bluntly, but your Majesty indeed had the intention of forming a marriage alliance with the Ing family. However, it seems that your son is impotent, so the marriage alliance is naturally nullified. Moreover, the betrothal gifts were stolen on the way. Bang! Ing Shang slammed the table. His eyes were as big as copper bells, and his eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets. Whatever your Empress says. Are you playing around with my Ing family? Third uncle, calm down. The Empress definitely doesn't mean that. Ing Shang raised his hand and delivered a slap. How could there be such a man in the Ing family? Had he been eaten by a dog? With a single slap, Ing Kongsher fell to the ground. He covered his face in a delicate manner. Coupled with his androgynous voice, he looked exactly like a transvestite. Third uncle, you hit me, I want to tell father about this. Calling him daddy when he can't win was the character of a child. Yuan De and He Xian looked at each other. It was a good thing that Ing Kongsher was crippled. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing for the Empress to marry such a man. That resume was all fake. Only by seeing the real person would one know the person's character. Actually, Ing Kongsher couldn't be blamed for this. After being raped, he had already started to develop his femininity. Sometimes, he would even use his flower-pinching finger, making it hard for people to defend against it. Bastard, I really want to F***king chop you into pieces. Ing Shang was infuriated when he heard Ing Shang's words. He had brought Ing Shang out to embarrass himself. He might as well lock him up on the island in the future. He Xian smiled and said, young Master Ing is still immature. You don't have to make things difficult for him. This was a blatant mockery. Was such an insensible man worthy of the Empress? Obviously not. He Xian, I Ing Shang, will make my words clear today. If your Empress doesn't come out and explain herself, I'll make it clear. 3 days later, Ing family's army will come and greet us. With Yuan De's explosive temper, he suddenly stood up and shouted out, sure, our voidless realm will be waiting for your arrival. He Xian face-bombed. I really can't take it anymore. You guys are too casual. Ying Shang did not expect the other party's attitude to be so unyielding. Originally, he only wanted to scare the other party, but now it was hard for him to back down. Alright. See you in 3 days. After saying that, he picked up Ying Kongsher. Ying Kongsher shouted, I don't want to go. I want the Empress. Ying Shang knocked him out with a single slap. What a disgrace. Watching the two of them leave, Yuanda said angrily, I'll kill them now. If we kill them now, we can't guarantee that the Ji family will also intervene. Don't forget that they are all from the south. He Xian shook his head. When two armies fought, they wouldn't kill the envoys. Everyone understood this principle. You guys are too hasty. You want to fight just like that? Yuanda was also speechless. The other party had already said that he would fight. Could it be that he had to admit defeat? Who has Voidless Realm ever been afraid of? Ying Shang rushed back to Ying family and immediately called for a meeting. All of Ying family's relatives were present, of course, other than Death Mage and Sun Fong. Sun Fong was only a supervisor and didn't interfere with Ying family's internal affairs. This made Ying family let out a sigh of relief. Family head, Voidless Realm is really going too far. That Empress doesn't even want to see us. Ying Shang reported the matter to his family head. Right now, Ying Kongsher woke up and said hurriedly, Father, perhaps the Empress is really in closed-door training. Ying Kongsher. Just which side are you on? Ying Shang lectured coldly. As the family head, Ying Jingshan still doesn't know about his son's character. Since Voidless Realm has accepted the challenge, then let's fight. My Ying family has been quiet for too long. It's time for the world to witness the strength of my Ying family. No one objected to Ying Jingshan's words. Ying family has been too low profile, and they are making use of this opportunity to rise up. Father. Shut up. From today onwards, you are grounded. Ying Jingshan originally just wanted to see his son's reaction, but the result was still the same. Ying Jingshan no longer held any hope in his heart. Father, Ying Kongsher's moan shocked everyone present, and some of them even felt like vomiting. No matter what, you are still a man of Ying family. How can you act coquettishly like a woman? Scram! Ying Jingshan shouted out sternly. Ying Kongsher stomped his feet, then walked out of the Ying family. Upon seeing this, the family members shook their heads. Ying family is truly a disgrace. Family head, should we inform Lord Sun about this matter? After all, our Ying family is really going to make a big move. Ying Shang warned. It was still necessary to inform Ying Jingshan of this matter. If by any chance his honor were to be angered, Ying family would have to face the consequences. Ying Jingshan nodded his head. Everyone prepare yourselves, I will go right now. The family members stood up, and killing intent emerged from their bodies as they shouted out in unison, Yes! With a calm look on his face, Ying Jingshan took the lead and walked out of the hall, preparing to report this matter to Lord Sun. Standing outside of an ordinary room, Ying Jingshan was actually very puzzled. Why would they choose to live in such a remote place when they have such a good house? They are truly not greedy at all, but when I think about the treasures that were dug out, my heart aches. Little skeleton. Be gentler. Your fingers are hurting me. GGG Imperial Translation. I will be gentler then. Immediately, a comfortable moan could be heard. Be gentler, this is comfortable, move a bit more to the left, that's right, the most important. Comfortable little skeleton, your technique is not bad. GGG, Imperial Translation. I have an even faster hand speed, do you want to give it a try? Ying Jingshan, who was standing outside of the room, felt very awkward. They are currently having fun in the bedroom. It doesn't seem good to disturb them like this. I should just wait for a while. The two people in the room were both sitting on the bed. Sun Fong's back was facing Death Mage, and Death Mage was using his fingertips to scratch Sun Fong's itch. Alright, stop scratching, there are people coming from outside, I will go and take a look. Sun Fong rolled her eyes at Death Mage. Ever since the two of them had pierced through that last piece of paper, the atmosphere between them had often become ambiguous. Death Mage was no longer as domineering as before and had become like a little puppy. Death Mage picked up his phone and began tapping on the screen. Biu. Recently, he had returned back to the fishing world. Don't ask why, it was because he had money now. And right now, Sun Fong also didn't want to kill Death Mage. Recently, she had been playing Honor of Kings, and Death Mage was not interested in that game. What fun is there in being the boss if you can't top up your money? Is there anything? Sun Fong opened the door and asked. Chapter 239. Lord Sun, it's like this. 3 days later, my Ying family will be attacking Voidless Realm, and I came over to inform you about this. Ying Jingshan bowed and said respectfully. Attacking Voidless Realm. Isn't this the result that His Honor wants? Sun Fong nodded. I understand. If there's nothing else, then go and prepare. All right. After greeting them, Ying Jingshan went to take charge of the overall situation. They had to win this battle no matter what. After all, this was the first battle that the Ying family was going to face after leaving the mountain. After returning back to the room, Sun Fong told Death Mage about what happened. Death Mage didn't report this matter to His Honor. After all, His Honor had already said that it would be better for them to fight as fiercely as possible. Sun Fong leaned on Death Mage's shoulder bone and opened up the game. She said faintly, Battle of the World seems to have brought heavy dust to the sea to look for treasures. Kakik. Imperial translation, he's dug up the entirety of the Ying clan's island. Sun Fong sighed. If only you could speak human language. I have to guess every time. He, Imperial translation. You can go and beg His Honor then. In any case, I'm not going to go and beg His Honor. If not, His Honor would think that I like you a lot. Are you telling me to go and beg His Honor? I'm not going to go and strangle you. You are making it seem as if I like you a lot. There isn't even a bit of flesh on your body, and when you lean against me, it feels very hard. After finished speaking, Sun Fong took a pillow and placed it on her shoulder bone. Death Mage was speechless. Only yesterday, His Honor said that he was going to bestow me with a fleshly body. You are the one who is not willing to give me a fleshly body. Sun Fong was also very depressed. If I had known that this would happen, I would have not cared about my face yesterday and asked His Honor to bestow me a body. I have a boyfriend, yet I am unable to touch him. His subordinates women were thinking of ways and means to push each other down, and as the boss, Yihua was currently thinking of how to make them stop, let alone push each other down. Holding on to Qingya, who had a cold expression on her face, Yihua came to buy fruit crepes again. The middle-aged woman smiled but did not say anything. This young man brought one a day. He was really amazing. Was he not afraid of failing? Haha, this Captain Yihua's ship had already capsized long ago, and he is currently in the midst of making up for it. Qingya, don't have such a cold face. Smile a bit. Yihua said lightly. In actuality, Qingya, who had a cold face, was very interesting, and I feel that it is very challenging. Move aside. Qingya shouted out coldly and fiercely took a bite of the Chinese jianbing. My stomach is about to shrivel up from hunger. I can't let my stomach suffer when I get angry at him. Eat slowly. No one is going to fight with you over your food. Yihua couldn't help but tease, then took the lead and walked into leisure bar. Qingya, who was at the back, said fiercely, I don't want to, I want to eat big mouthfuls of food, what can you do to me? While holding on to the Chinese crepe, Yihua walked into the office. Right now, Dong Huang Baiji had already woken up, and Dong Huang Li was still sleeping soundly. I bought breakfast for you. Yihua placed the Chinese jianbing on the coffee table. Get out. Dong Huang Baiji stood beside the window with her back facing Yihua. Eat less instant noodles. Do you think I won't know if you throw it away? The whole house is filled with that smell. Dong Huang Baiji said gravely. It's none of your business. Yihua slowly walked towards Dong Huang Baiji, and when Dong Huang Baiji heard the footsteps getting closer and closer, her heartbeat became faster and faster. Reaching out his hands, he hugged her slender waist and pulled her into his arms. Let go of me. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out gravely. Yihua said faintly, Baiji, although you are very dishonest, your body is much more honest than other people. You scoundrel. A layer of redness appeared on Dong Huang Baiji's fair face. Although I haven't been with you for a long time, I know what you are thinking. If not, you wouldn't have resisted. Yihua moved closer to Dong Huang Baiji's ear and said, causing Dong Huang Baiji's heart to be in a mess. You are grabbing onto my hand. How am I supposed to resist? Yihua laughed lightly. Baiji, for the sake of Ali, we should let go of our grudges. I hope that Ali can have a mother's love and care, and of course, I can't lack my love and care as well. We will be a family. Dong Huang Baiji became silent, because this was what she desired the most from the bottom of her heart. For the sake of Ali, she was willing to try. Seeing that Dong Huang Baiji became silent, Yi Hua's pair of evil hands started moving around again. "Stop messing around. Our daughter is here," Dong Huang Baiji shouted out. "Baiji, are you saying that if our daughter isn't here, I can do it? Go and die." What a hypocritical woman. Although you are saying that you don't want to do it, your body has already fallen into my embrace. Yi Hua laughed lightly. Dong Huang Baiji said in disdain, "You definitely cast a spell on me. If not, how would I be like this?" "Baiji, don't lie to yourself anymore. You do like me." "Bullshit." Dong Huang Li, who was on the bed, rubbed her eyes, then turned her head around and looked towards her father and mother, then cried out in surprise. "Daddy, Mommy, have you two reconciled? Ali is too happy." Yi Hua let go of Dong Huang Baiji and carried his daughter into his embrace. "Daddy has forgiven Mommy." "That's great, Daddy is so handsome." After saying that, Dong Huang Baiji kissed Dong Huang Baiji. Soon after, Dong Huang Baiji didn't forget to kiss her mother as well. What a harmonious family of three. However, Yi Hua knew that if he wanted to make the two of them submit to him wholeheartedly, this was not enough at all. Yi Hua had been thinking for the entire night. Because back in the storage room, Dong Huang Baiji's concern had touched Yi Hua. This meant that only when I am in danger would they reveal their sincerity. From the looks of it, I have to hold the second meeting today to discuss how to make me in danger without losing his honor's face. Baiji, bring Ali to wash up and eat breakfast. I have something to do. Yi Hua said and walked out of the office. Dong Huang Baiji carried her daughter. Ali, do you like Daddy a bit more? Or do you like Mommy a bit more? Ali likes both of them. Dong Huang Baiji pinched onto her daughter's little nose lovingly. You little fellow, you also know how to play dumb. Hee, Ali loves Mommy the most. Mommy loves Ali too. The relationship between the mother and daughter slowly warmed up. After all, the previous Dong Huang Baiji was very strict, and the current version of Dong Huang Baiji was more like a mother. Seeing that Qingya was going upstairs, Dong Huang Baiji shouted out, "Qingya, there is something that I need your help with." Qingya was very puzzled. "Come in and talk." Dong Huang Baiji appeared to be very sneaky, as if she was afraid of being discovered by Yi Hua. Qingya could tell that Dong Huang Baiji seemed to have a way to help Yi Hua, and thus, Dong Huang Baiji entered Qing Yutong's room stealthily. "Sit," Dong Huang Baiji said with a smile. Qingya asked curiously, "You seem to be in a good mood today." Upon hearing Qingya's question, Dong Huang Baiji's expression immediately changed. "Who is in a good mood today?" "Qingya, do you still remember the matter that we talked about yesterday?" Dong Huang Baiji asked. "You are talking about leaving this place?" Dong Huang Baiji nodded her head. Chapter 240. Dong Huang Baiji naturally knew that. After all, as a woman who was once an empress, her way of thinking would definitely be different. "Qingya, what we need to do is very simple. As long as we anger Yi Hua, he will let us go." "Are you sure that you want to let us go and not spank our butts?" Qingya didn't believe it. That fellow loves to spank and touch people's butts. Dong Huang Baiji wasn't very sure. "Why are you in a hurry to go out?" Qingya asked curiously. Dong Huang Baiji let out a breath. "I have a very urgent matter to deal with at home." The two women became silent. Qingya's gaze could be seen revealing a firm look. "Let's try, isn't it just a spanking? In any case, I am pregnant and he won't spank me, but you?" "I have Ali." Dong Huang Baiji was smart now. She looked for her daughter for help. The two women looked at each other and smiled. "If we go out, where do you plan to go?" Dong Huang Baiji asked while pouring a cup of water for Qingya. This was the first time Dong Huang Baiji poured a cup of water for someone after she became an empress. Qingya shook her head. "I don't know. Let's go to my place. After all, my place is safe and suitable for nurturing the fetus. Children are more important." Qingya didn't dare to go back, and she also didn't want to go back to her home in Gaohai City. Qingya sighed. "Let's see if we can get out first." All right. While the two women were planning to break out of the prison in the office, Yi Hua successfully held the second meeting in the toilet. Yi Zizi, Wei Chong, and Lai Gu stood respectfully in front of Yi Hua, waiting for his honor's orders. I am currently facing the biggest crisis in history, Yi Hua said gravely. The three shouted out in unison, subordinates are willing to solve your honor's problems. Very good. I have decided to learn from humans and become a hero to save the beauties. Yi Hua seemed to have already seen Qingya and Donghuang Baiji being so touched that they would pounce into his embrace, then act coquettishly. His beautiful life was about to begin again, and in the future, he would also be a person who would be hugging beauties on his left and right. While fantasizing, Yi Hua revealed an arc on the corner of his mouth. Yi Hua pouted her small mouth and said, "But your honor, those heroes that saved the beauties that we met in the past didn't end up well, they were all killed by us." "Zizi, are you saying that I can't be a hero and save the beauty?" Yi Hua, who was a little complacent just a moment ago, immediately became serious. Yi Zizi said sweetly, "Zizi is a girl. Of course, I know what the madams are thinking. Although the hero saving the beauty can make them feel better, it can't achieve the best effect. After all, the hero saving the beauty is a bit old." Hearing what Yi Zizi said, Yi Hua also felt that this was an old trick. The two of them are so smart, if they were to see through this old trick, it would be awkward. My reputation would be ruined because of this old trick. Wei Chong, tell me. Wei Chong wrinkled his brows and said in a deep voice, "Your honor, since ancient times, heroes have always found it hard to resist the charms of a beautiful woman. However, there is a need to lay the foundation in order to win the heart of a beautiful woman." Yi Hua's eyes lit up. Seems like Wei Chong has improved. Go on. The hero saving the beauty is a good idea, but in terms of the result, we should be more outstanding. Wei Chong smiled, thinking that this method was feasible. Lai Gu immediately slapped his thigh. "I understand. Gluttonous monster's meaning is to let your honor display his godly might and let the madams be immersed in your honor's heroism and be unable to extricate themselves from it." Lai Gu cried out in surprise. "I didn't expect that this gluttonous monster is becoming more and more intelligent." Yi Hua felt that it wasn't that it was impossible, but it was lacking something. Yi Hua said faintly, "Ever since I came here, I have never come across any danger, let alone any danger that threatened my life." "Your honor, what subordinate is talking about is this point," Wei Chong explained. Yi Hua indicated to Wei Chong to continue speaking. "The madams love your honor, that is an undeniable fact." This bootlicking was done well, causing Yi Hua to feel happy. However, because of some matters, the madams hid their sincerity. What your honor needs to do is to reveal the sincerity of the madams. Wei Chong, that is exactly what I am thinking, just that I don't know what method to use. Yi Zizi suddenly said, "If your honor is going to die, I reckon that the madams will definitely not be able to sit still." Wei Chong nodded his head. "That's right, on the basis of this hero saving the beauty, we should increase the difficulty by a bit." Lai Gu slapped onto his thigh once again. "I understand. Your honor is going to be the hero saving the beauty, and after defeating the enemy with great difficulty, you ended up suffering from serious injuries. If you do that, the madams will definitely be touched to death." This time, Lai Gu finally guessed correctly. Yi Hua took out a cigarette and lit it up. "Since we are going to act out a hero saving the beauty, then we have to make it a bit more realistic. We have to see blood with every move, and we have to have people die. We have to have a big scene, only then will it be shocking." "Your honor, leave these things to subordinate. Subordinate will go and look for the actors to cooperate with us." Wei Chong smiled. Lai Gu raised his hand and shouted out, "I will be the bad guy." "Wei Chong, you will be the bad guy too. Your identity cannot be discovered by the madams. As for Yi Zizi, forget about it. It will be too easy for the madams to recognize you." Yi Hua had already decided, victory or defeat will be determined by this battle. Suddenly thinking of something, Yi Hua said, "Then, doesn't that mean that I have to chase them away?" The three subordinates nodded their heads seriously. "If I don't chase them away, how am I going to act out this show? Then later on, I will think of a way to chase them away. Lai Gu, you take care of their safety and wait for my command." Subordinate obeys. Yi Hua waved his hand. "All of you can leave now, let me think of a way to chase them away." After walking out of the toilet, Yi Hua sat on the bar counter and pondered. "If I don't say some ruthless words to them, what should I do if they don't leave? If I say some ruthless words to them, what should I do if they become heartbroken? When that time comes, don't even talk about being a hero saving the beauty. What should I do? Just as Yi Hua was pondering, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji walked down from the bar, and their expressions were still that bad. In actuality, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were very nervous. After having a discussion just now, they had come up with a series of plans to break out of the prison. The first plan was to anger Yi Hua, and there were only two consequences. One was to let Yi Hua go, and the other was to get spanked. And when Yi Hua saw the two women walking over, if he were to flip out and chase them away, there would be too many situations that would happen. Also, what reason should he use to flip out? That is the problem. I am also a reasonable person, and I would never act recklessly. The two women winked their beautiful eyes at each other, indicating that the show had begun. The two women walked towards Yi Hua at the same time, and just as they were about to get close to Yi Hua, Donghuang Baiji's body became unstable and fell into Yi Hua's embrace. Yi Hua, what is the meaning of this? You are hugging another woman in front of me. Qingya immediately scolded out. Her imposing manner caused Yi Hua to be stupefied. However, Donghuang Baiji stood up angrily. Yi Hua, you actually touched my butt just now, you old hooligan. All right, you even touched her butt, Yi Hua. I, Qingya, have misjudged you. Yi Hua was currently in a stupefied state. What are we doing? Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were also very puzzled. I have already scolded out like this. Why aren't you reacting? It would be good if you show some expression. Don't be so silly. Chapter 241. The atmosphere couldn't be so awkward. The two women hurriedly thought of a countermeasure. Yi Hua, don't you have anything to explain? Qingya shouted coldly. Yi Hua felt that this was an opportunity that was delivered to his doorstep, and it just so happens that I can chase them away. What the hell are you two doing? Do you want to get beaten up? Yi Hua shouted out with a straight face. However, not knowing why, Yi Hua wanted to laugh, thus his expression was a bit distorted. But in the eyes of the two women, this situation was too good. Donghuang Baiji shouted out in anger. You only know how to use domestic violence. I've had enough, I want to leave you. I've had enough too. I want to go out. You can't lock us up. Yi Hua was stupefied. This is too easy, isn't it? I, the Supreme Overlord, didn't even chase them away, and they want to leave by themselves? This is great. But he couldn't show it, much less let them see it. Impossible. Yi Hua shouted out. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji knew that this would happen, and they stared at Yi Hua with their beautiful eyes. And when Yi Hua saw that the two women were no longer resisting, he cried out in distress. Was my tone just now too heavy? If he had known this would happen, he would have let them leave just now. Now that they refused to leave, he had really shot himself in the foot. It seemed like it was time to test his acting skills. I, the Supreme Overlord, will let you see what is called acting skills. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji took a look at each other. Seems like we still have to rely on our acting skills. If the two of you dare to walk even a bit, I will beat your butts into mush. Yi Hua shouted out fiercely, and his acting was a bit exaggerated. But in the eyes of the two women, it wasn't exaggerated at all. It was just this kind of expression. If you have the guts, come and fight me. Donghuang Baiji shouted out. Not to be outdone, Qingya said, if you don't spank my butt today, then you are a grandson. Fine, you forced me to do this. Yi Hua waved his hand, and the two delicate beauties automatically flew over to Yi Hua. With their buttocks raised, the two beauties appeared in front of Yi Hua. This position was definitely a blessing. 100% blessing. Imagining two beauties with their buttocks sticking out in front of him, he could only imagine it himself. Yi Hua raised both of his hands and slapped towards Qingya. Yi Hua used a bit of strength, and Qingya's side was in a slightly better condition. Papa, Yi Hua, I can't stand you anymore. You are domestic abusing me. I want to leave. Qingya bawled loudly. Qingya's acting was pretty good. In actuality, she didn't feel any pain at all. It was more or less the same as caressing. Meanwhile, Donghuang Baiji was truly feeling a bit of pain. Yi Hua, you bastard, it hurts so much. I want to leave you, tyrant. I want to leave too. Yi Hua was overjoyed. I was just waiting for you two to say this. After stopping the whipping, Yi Hua said gravely, are you all really going to leave me? This tone, this deep tone, It was simply the call of an infatuated man to his beloved wife. Seeing that the two women were not speaking anymore, Yihua wished that he could slap himself. Why did I have to be so flirtatious? What if I don't want to leave? Yes, we have to leave. Seeing how certain the two women were, Yihua felt at ease. Mommy, why did you leave Daddy? Dong Huangli suddenly ran over, pulled onto Dong Huang Baiji, and asked. Yihua hugged onto his daughter and said gravely, Ali, Mommy doesn't want us anymore. Dong Huang Baiji really wanted to smack Yihua's butt. What the hell is this? This is completely slandering me. After I finish my matter, I still have to come back here. Ouch. What's wrong with me? I still want to come back. Qingya, are you really going to leave me? Yihua's pair of deep black eyes looked at Qingya, and traces of tenderness could be seen within. Who said that the Supreme Overlord doesn't have any acting skills? The Oscars owe his honor a golden man. Qingya didn't dare to look straight at Yihua's gaze. I want to go out and calm down. All right, since the two of you have already decided, I will let the two of you go. From today onwards, Ali and I will live together. All of you, scram. Yihua hugged onto his daughter, turned around, and then waved his hand. The seal on Dong Huang Baiji's body was removed, and the seal on Purity Bar was removed as well. Looking at Yihua who was hugging onto Dong Huangli who was crying, Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji couldn't bear to watch anymore. However, thinking about how bad Yihua was, Qingya clenched her teeth and walked out of the bar. Dong Huang Baiji wrinkled her brows. Ali can be at ease with Yihua. I will explain everything to Ali when I come back. After the two women walked out of the bar, Dong Huang Baiji asked, Qingya, have you made your decision? Since I don't have anywhere else to go, I will just go to your place first. Qingya said powerlessly. After walking out of the bar, she couldn't bear to part with Dong Huang Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji nodded her head. She felt that something was amiss. Qingya, don't you feel that Yihua is acting very strange today? Yesterday he wanted to lock us up for our entire lives, and yet today, he is letting us go so easily? As expected of the Empress, she immediately realized what was going on. If Yihua's performance just now wasn't on point, she would definitely be even more suspicious of him. Perhaps he really gave up. In actuality, Qingya felt very uncomfortable in her heart. Yihua really doesn't want me anymore. Dong Huang Baiji let out a deep sigh. She didn't know if what Yihua did was right or wrong. Yihua stood in the office and looked at the two women, then said, Hurry up and leave, don't dawdle anymore. Daddy, how can you let Mommy go? Yihua smiled and explained to his daughter. He didn't want Ali to really think that Mommy doesn't want her anymore. After hearing her father's explanation, Dong Huangli immediately understood. Daddy is still the formidable one. Mommy and Aunt Qing were both deceived. Shoo, Daddy, this isn't lying, this is love. Ali understands. Dong Huangli had a look of, I am an experienced person, causing Yihua to laugh out loud. When Yihua looked downstairs and saw that the two women were already nowhere to be seen, Yihua felt relieved. Ligu, are you keeping up? Your Honor, this Madame Dong Huang is a bit formidable. Lai Gu followed Dong Huang Baiji to Voidless Realm, and upon seeing the scene in front of him, Lai Gu was shocked. What do you mean? Lai Gu let out a sigh. I also don't know what to say. I saw that those people were all kneeling down to welcome Madame Dong Huang. So awesome. Yihua was also very astonished. Soon after, Yihua said, Lend me your eyes and let me take a look. With the help of Lai Gu's eyes, Yihua was able to see the scene. As expected of my woman, this Empress style is indeed very strong. It is causing my desire to conquer her to become stronger and stronger. Lai Gu, continue to protect the two of them and wait for my orders. Yes. Right now, Qingya was also very stupefied. With a Bayou sound, I felt as if I had arrived at another world, and everyone in this world was kneeling down to welcome Dong Huang Baiji. And she was actually the Empress of this place. My God! Not only is she a cultivator, she is also an Empress. Qingya immediately lost her confidence. Compared to Dong Huang Baiji, I am only rich, I am too useless. The 8 elders hurriedly rushed over and said gravely, Welcome, Your Majesty. You may rise. Your Majesty, Ying family is going to attack us 3 days later. Your Majesty, please lead us and fight against the enemy. Yuanda shouted out gravely. Soon after, everyone in Voidless Realm started shouting out, causing Qing Ya's blood to boil. Donghuang Baiji's beautiful eyes became serious. Since they dare to come, then let's make sure that they will not be able to return. Our Majesty is mighty. Our Majesty is mighty. Our Majesty is mighty. What they didn't know was that their empress was being molested by Yihua last night. Chapter 242. Donghuang Baiji was a bit embarrassed. Right now, the battle was about to start. Donghuang Baiji said, "Qing Ya, do you want to go back or continue staying here? If you stay, I will ensure your safety." "Stay here," Qing Ya said faintly. "If I were to go back now, wouldn't I be completely suppressed by Yihua? In the future, I would definitely be bullied by Yihua. However, from what Yihua said, it seems like he doesn't plan to look for me anymore. I might as well learn from Donghuang Baiji and give birth to the child myself. How about you stay in Ali's courtyard? That place is quieter and safer." Donghuang Baiji was still very concerned about Qing Ya. "Both of us are women who have a hard life. Why should I make things difficult for Qing Ya?" After making arrangements for Qing Ya, Donghuang Baiji began discussing with her 8 subordinates about the battle strategy to make sure that Ying family won't be able to return alive. Yihua was currently in a good mood, and he was currently in the 4th row. "Daddy, Ali's 98K is for you. Papa, I'll give you Ali's high magnification scope. Papa, Ali's level 3 armor is for you. Daddy, I'll give you Ali's level 3 helmet as well." Being taken care of by his daughter, Yihua felt very touched. Not only was he taken care of by his daughter, but he was also carried by his daughter to win PUBG. This was a little hurtful. He had to teach his daughter not to cheat in games. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi sat at the side and lightly smiled, not saying a word. Of course, Dong Huangli wouldn't allow the child to play games all day and night. It would be fine as long as it was appropriate. In the afternoon, Dong Huangli began to practice her cultivation technique, while Yihua was thinking about how to be a hero and save the beauty. For example, what lines to say and so on. All of those lines have to be shocking and moving, and I have to move the beauty to death. I won't be able to leave them even for a second. Before he knew it, he had arrived at the storage room. When he saw the few boxes of mahogany, he immediately contacted Wei Chong. "How did Death Mage send these things over?" "Replying to your honor, subordinate doesn't know either. Let subordinate ask around first." "Hurry up." After Wei Chong finished asking, Wei Chong immediately replied, "Your honor, these are the betrothal gifts that Death Mage snatched from a power called Voidless Realm." Yihua laughed lightly. "So, she is the Empress of Voidless Realm. However, I seem to have heard of this Voidless Realm somewhere before. It sounds so familiar." Yihua and Wei Chong seem to have thought of the same direction. "Your honor, I heard from Death Mage that the negotiations seem to have broken down, and the battle will start 3 days later." Yihua's expression froze. "My subordinate's power went to beat up my wife's power. Isn't this too much of a coincidence?" "Your honor, this is a great opportunity." Yihua wrinkled his brows. "What do you mean?" From the start, subordinate had planned to letting family be the extras. But now, there is no need for us to arrange any plot at all. When the time comes, his honor can just appear and save the damsel in distress. Yihua thought for a bit. This idea of Wei Chang's is feasible, and it will save me quite a bit of trouble. Furthermore, it has also fulfilled my requirements of having a big scene. All right. 3 days later, we will take down Voidless Realm in one go. Yes, Your Holiness. After ending the call, Yihua carefully thought about it. This is simply killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I can even take over Donghuang Baiji's power. Death Mage, you have done well in snatching. You have given me my wife and daughter. I will be greatly rewarded. Next, Yihua could only calmly wait for the hero to save the beauty 3 days later. I cannot be careless with this matter. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi would definitely not be able to participate in the performance this time around. The 2 of them would only cause trouble, and when the time comes, it would be awkward for them to be exposed. And this time, one side was Ying family, and the other side was Voidless Realm. Ying family attacked. Voidless Realm defended. The bad guys would be Wei Chong and Lai Gu. Death Mage and Sun Fong cannot appear. After all, both of them had been exposed before. Yi Hua was rather cautious. Meanwhile, Wei Chong and Lai Gu had to change their identities and go. Of course, I have to inform Ying family about this matter. If I were to appear and make everyone kneel down, what is there to save? Of course I have to fight for real. With Wei Chong and Lai Gu suppressing Voidless Realm, it is certain that Voidless Realm will lose. In the end, when I appear in front of the two women while riding on a 5-colored auspicious cloud, I don't believe that the two women won't be moved. This plan can only succeed, it cannot fail. This plan concerns the harmony of the entire family. This kind of noise is making me tired. Ying family. Wei Chong had already told Death Mage and Sun Feng about the plan, and also expressed his honor's attitude towards this matter. If the plan were to be messed up, the consequences would be very serious. After Death Mage and Sun Feng found out about the plan, they first went silent for a moment, then went to look for Ying family's patriarch. Right now, it was already the middle of the night, and most of the people had already fallen asleep. Sun Feng walked in front of Death Mage. After all, from the identity that Yi Hua gave to Sun Feng's status in Ying family was higher than Death Mage, and Death Mage was at most just an assistant. Lord Sun. The Imperial Guards who were standing at the entrance were startled and hurriedly kneeled down. Sun Feng's expression sunk. This is a big matter. If something were to happen, I will have to take responsibility. The main point is that I did not participate in such a big matter. How am I supposed to control the situation? My head hurts. Sun Feng waved her hand and directly walked into Ying Jingshan's bedroom. The maids who were waiting outside hurriedly kneeled down and cried out, "Lord Sun! Ask your family patriarch to come out for a moment." Sun Feng sat on a small stone bench outside of the bedroom, and Death Mage stood behind her. That vigilant gaze of his seemed to be saying, "Whoever dares to be disrespectful to my ugly woman, I will kill them all." The maids looked at each other. Even the family patriarch is resting. Hurry up, don't make me wait too long. After interacting with Death Mage, Sun Feng unknowingly became a bit vicious, and she was no longer as gentle as before. Without waiting for the maids to leave, Ying Jingshan, who was wearing his pajamas, opened the door and walked out. "All of you can leave first." The maids had a nervous look on their faces as they bowed and left. "Lord Sun, why are you looking for subordinates so late at night?" Ying Jingshan arrived in front of Sun Feng and cupped his hands. Sun Feng looked at Ying Jingshan, and the latter hurriedly lowered his head. "Lord Sun is very strange today. Her complexion is so bad. His honor has ordered that he will send 2 people to assist you all in attacking Voidless Realm." Ying Jingshan was overjoyed and immediately kneeled down and shouted out, "His honor is a wise person, he loves us so much." Sun Feng said faintly, "The 2 people that his honor sent out are only to assist you all, and they will only take action when you all are in danger. As for the rest, you all still have to rely on yourselves." Even if that was the case, Ying Jingshan was still overjoyed. It's fine. This is Ying family's matter to begin with. For his honor to be willing to help us, we are already extremely honored." Ying Jingshan's attitude made Sun Feng feel satisfied. From the looks of it, his honor is able to accomplish his goal with this move of his. His honor is indeed extremely intelligent. "Yi Hua, I am only going to let them be extras, that's all." Ying Jingshan stood up and said with a slight smile, "Is it Lord Sun and Death Mage?" Sun Feng shook her head. Ying Jingshan finally understood why the 2 of them had such a gloomy look on their faces. It turns out that his honor didn't send the 2 of them to attack Voidless Realm. Sun Feng stood up and warned one last time, "If his honor appears, do not pay attention to him, and do not bow to him. Just act as if you don't know him, and do what you are supposed to do. Remember this point, because this matter concerns our lives." After hearing what Sun Feng said, Ying Jingshan's heart sunk. He didn't dare to be careless in the slightest. "Lord Sun, please be at ease, I will make the arrangements." Chapter 243. Ying Jingshan, who was standing in the courtyard, had his brows tightly wrinkled. His honor is going to appear on that day as well? Why did he appear? Could it be that he is planning to subdue Voidless Realm? The possibility of that happening was extremely high. Ying Jingshan immediately called for a clan meeting to discuss countermeasures. At that time, when his honor really appears, everything will proceed according to the plan. All of Ying family's people must keep their mouths shut, lest they ruin his honor's plans and lead to the destruction of Ying family. Everyone was guessing what the purpose of his honor's operation this time around was. If his honor wants to exterminate Voidless Realm, just a single death mage would be more or less enough. Yet, his honor actually sent out 2 death mages, and furthermore, his honor is even going to send out Death Mage himself. It seemed like he didn't want to destroy it, but to subdue it. Everyone in Ying family seemed to be a bit happy. Finally, not only am I enslaved, I am also accompanied by Voidless Realm, and I am no longer lonely. Next would be the Ji family. They could either submit or be exterminated, which was actually a very good choice. If they were destroyed, that would be the best. Then, the South would be the only winner. Within Voidless Realm, right now, everyone was busy preparing to receive Ying family's attack. Donghuang Baiji personally made arrangements for Voidless Realm soldiers and officers, and after consoling them, Voidless Realm's morale was ignited. Everyone became excited. After all, this was Voidless Realm's first battle in several hundred years. Qingya stayed in Ali's courtyard, and she was sitting in the pavilion in the courtyard with a gloomy expression while looking at the stars in the sky. It had only been less than a day, and Qingya was already starting to miss Yihua. Actually, from Yihua's point of view, it seemed that he wasn't wrong. Could it be that I was too willful? Qingya was a bit hesitant. What if Yihua really doesn't come to look for me? Sigh, seems like I have really been captured by Yihua. Qingya, why aren't you resting yet? Donghuang Baiji suddenly appeared in the courtyard. Donghuang Baiji had just finished her inspection and came over to check on Qingya's situation. Qingya forced out a smile. I was just about to go, are you all right? Donghuang Baiji sat opposite to Qingya, and the maid immediately came over to pour tea for her. Not really, Ying family is going to attack the Voidless Realm the day after tomorrow, and at that time, rivers of blood will definitely flow. Donghuang Baiji let out a deep sigh. I wonder how many people from Voidless Realm will be left after the Voidless Realm battle starts. Embarrassed, Qingya said, I am truly ashamed that I wasn't able to help you. Qingya, don't say it like that. This has nothing to do with you in the first place. Donghuang Baiji laughed lightly. She felt that Qingya's personality was rather good, and they could be considered to be able to get along well with each other. If you need money, I still have some here. Yihua won quite a lot of money. I don't want his money. Donghuang Baiji snorted coldly. Qingya laughed. In actuality, Yihua is quite formidable. If he were to come over, you would be able to relax a lot. I'm not going to go and beg him. This is a battle between Voidless Realm. What's the point of having him come here? Donghuang Baiji naturally knew how formidable Yihua was. For him to be able to seal me, Yihua's strength was definitely above mine. If Yihua were to come and help me, he would definitely be a good helper. However, the prideful Donghuang Baiji would definitely not go and beg Yihua. Baiji, to be honest, you still like Yihua, right? As they chatted, the 2 women began to talk about men. You too, right? Both women had tacitly agreed. Everything was understood without words. However, to Yihua, this kind of situation was even better. Right now, he only needed to light up the fire in their hearts. Qingya, you should rest early. I will bring you around tomorrow. All right, you should rest early too. Although the 2 women liked the same man, they seemed to be very courteous towards each other, and they could barely be considered as friends. However, if Yihua wanted to make the 2 women be like Lai Gu and the other women, he still had to work hard. After all, the 2 of them were not ordinary women. If Yihua wanted to have a woman on his left and a woman on his right, a big show might not be able to satisfy him, but it would definitely be able to make their relationship become better. 3 days passed by very quickly, and the entire Voidless Realm was in a state of nervousness. Over 10,000 fully armed warriors were gathered at the entrance of the barrier, and there were even 1,000 cavalries in the sky. The mounts were golden crow wings, spiritual beasts raised by Voidless Realm, and their battle prowess was extraordinary. Those hard feathers were just like black iron blades, and they were able to kill without leaving a trace. Right now, Donghuang Baiji was standing in the sky. Donghuang Baiji was wearing a dragon-patterned purple gown, and her pair of beautiful eyes were filled with coldness and arrogance. Behind her were 8 elders, and all of them were holding onto various types of ancient godly items. Donghuang Baiji, who was standing in the sky, was emitting out an astonishing spiritual pressure. She looked down at all of the officers and soldiers and shouted out. Officers and soldiers, the war is coming, every inch of land is an inch of blood. For Voidless Realm. Die a worthy death. Tens of thousands of officers and soldiers knelt down on one knee and shouted out in unison, "For the Empress! For Voidless Realm!" The resounding sound resonated throughout the entire Voidless Realm, and even Qingya, who was standing in the courtyard, heard it. Qingya thought to herself, "If I have the ability, I would be able to help as well. Unfortunately, I am just a flower vase that is being protected by everyone." Donghuang Baiji, who was in the sky, slowly closed her beautiful eyes. When she opened her eyes again, her pair of eyes had become golden, and a drop of blood slowly rose into the sky. "The blood of East Emperor, I pray for the descent of an ancient godly beast." In an instant, the entire sky looked as if it was on fire, and a terrifying might seemed to be slowly descending. A huge figure spiraled above the red clouds, and the rumbling sounds coming from the red clouds could be heard, causing people to feel fear. Roar! A huge beast swooped down. The wings on its body were golden in color, and its head was shaped like an eagle. The only difference was that it had 3 sharp claws, and its pair of eyes carried an aura of contempt. This beast's name was Three-Legged Crow, and it was an ancient godly beast. At the same time, it was also one of Voidless Realm's trump cards. It was similar to the one summoned by Sun Yi. The difference was that one was a child, and the other was an adult. Furthermore, this three-legged crow was actually similar to Ying family's heavy dust. One was a godly beast, while the other was a ferocious beast. When everyone saw the descent of the godly beast, their confidence increased greatly, and they immediately began cheering. "Long live the Empress! Long live the Empress!" The three-legged crow landed beside Donghuang Baiji, then shook its feathers, and a golden halo spread out. All of the generals and soldiers felt that they had an inexhaustible amount of energy, and they wished that they could directly slaughter their way out. This was the benefit of being a godly beast, having a halo effect. However, ferocious beasts did not have such a passive effect. The battle was about to begin. Outside of the Void Realm, on a land of yellow sand. Suddenly, a white light flashed, and 8,000 plus people appeared. There was also a huge beast. It was precisely the ancient beast, Heavy Dust. That red nail polish was very eye-catching, but Heavy Dust did not feel that it was ugly at all. On the contrary, it felt that it was glorious, and sometimes, it would even flaunt its beautiful nail polish. "Family head, His Honor's people have yet to appear. What should we do?" Right now, Ying Shang family was also fully armed, and with an ancient godly item in his hand, the battle today will definitely be a bloodbath. The silver armor that Ying Jingshan was wearing was very eye-catching, and the might that was being emitted from it was very shocking. This silver armor that Ying Jingshan was wearing was also an ancient godly item. A big shot is a big shot, and an ancient godly item is just like an appetizer. Ying Kongsher said faintly, "Wait." Chapter 244. In the bar. While Yi Hua was drinking wine, Wei Chong and Lai Gu were standing behind him, waiting for the latest instructions. "You guys go first. Remember to act real. However, don't hurt Baiji either." Yi Hua lit up a stick of cigarette and said faintly, "Yes. Yes." Wei Chong appeared to be calm, while Lai Gu appeared to be very excited. Voidless Realm. The 8,000-strong army quietly waited. This caused Donghuang Baiji, who was within the army, to tightly wrinkle her brows. "Your Majesty, this is not good." Xing Han stepped forward and said. Donghuang Baiji naturally knew about this. They are waiting for someone. Looking at Heavy Dust, who was outside, Voidless Realm's people shook their heads. How does this look like a ferocious beast? Heavy Dust is actually scratching an itch like a dog, and furthermore, Heavy Dust is even wearing that beautiful nail polish, and is even showing off there. Voidless Realm's barrier allowed one to see the outside world from the inside, while the outside world would not be able to sense the outside world. A black vortex suddenly appeared in front of the Ying family's army. All of the Ying family's soldiers were on high alert, while Ying Jingshan waved his hand. A black shadow walked out of the vortex. It was Wei Chong, who had come to play the role of the bad guy. Ying Jingshan was overjoyed. As expected, the person that His Honor sent over is truly formidable. Although His Honor isn't emitting any pressure from his body, it is precisely this calmness that makes people revere him. The people in Voidless Realm also saw Wei Chong, and towards the shadowy figure, everyone was very puzzled. However, Donghuang Baiji's gaze became even more grave. Ying family has invited a helper over. Shameless. something even more shameless came. Roar! Dragon roars resounded through the sky as a terrifying spiritual pressure swept across the land. Even heavy dust was trembling in fear. The black dot in the sky grew larger and larger. A huge bone dragon descended from the sky, stirring up a terrifying sandstorm. It was precisely Lai Gu who obtained his honor's permission to reveal his true body and act as the bad guy. The Ying family was dumbfounded. The people from Voidless Realm were dumbfounded. Although Lai Gu's true body was smaller than heavy dust, it was small yet powerful, small yet durable. At this moment, Ying Jingshan was stupefied. This bone dragon was truly powerful. He felt even more powerful than the giant water devil god. Dong Huang Baiji's expression was gloomy. This skeletal dragon is too strong. Where did it come from? And that shadowy figure, it seemed like they were together. Of course, Wei Chong wouldn't stand on Lai Gu, because Lai Gu was his honor's mount. Other than his honor having ridden on Lai Gu before, only Yi Zizi had ridden on Lai Gu once. Don't worry, Your Majesty. This barrier was set up in the ancient times. If they want to break in, they will definitely suffer heavy losses. Yuanda said. How could Dong Huang Baiji not know how powerful this barrier was? However, her sixth sense as a woman told her that this barrier would not be able to stop them. Ying Jingshan, who was outside, naturally knew how powerful Voidless Realm's barrier was. Lord, can you help me open this barrier? Ying Jingshan shouted in a deep voice. Wei Chong looked at the barrier not far away. What's wrong? You can't even open such a barrier? Lord, this barrier can be opened, but we will lose a lot of people. Ying Jingshan hurriedly explained. Wei Chong thought for a bit. If I were to kill half of the people outside of the barrier, Voidless Realm's advantage would be very big. After all, I and Lai Gu aren't here to kill the madam subordinates, they are here to put on a show. Thinking of this, Wei Chong made a decision and flicked his finger. A black mist that looked like a black needle came into contact with the barrier. But the black mist did not pierce through the barrier. Instead, like a kind of strange life form, the black mist gradually covered the barrier and spread out. In a blink of an eye, the black mist attached itself onto the barrier like a spider web, and the barrier emitted out a strong spiritual might, seemingly wanting to struggle free from the disgusting black mist. However, it was useless. The black mist was like a domineering man and gradually wrapped around the woman in his embrace. Bang! A piece of the barrier shattered, and soon after, more and more people from Voidless Realm appeared in front of Ying Jingshan's eyes. Everyone had astonished expressions on their faces, especially Dong Huang Baiji, who was in the sky. Her small mouth was slightly opened. Ying Jingshan was the first to react. He pulled out his ancient godly item, pointed his sword towards Voidless Realm, and said with killing intent, Kill! Kill! 8,000 Ying family soldiers rushed into Voidless Realm. Heavy dust roared towards the sky and directly crashed into a floating mountain, shattering it into pieces. The three-legged black beast beside Dong Huang Baiji let out a roar, and Heavy Dust's gaze became serious. Monstrous fury was ignited at this moment. The godly beast and the ferocious beast had always disliked each other, and thus, both sides immediately started fighting against each other. In just an instant, over 100 people had already fallen onto the ground, and the death toll was still rising. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out and rushed straight towards Ying family's family head, Ying Jingshan. Meanwhile, the 8 elders were fighting against Ying family's clansmen. A life-and-death battle started. Wei Chong and Lai Gu walked into Voidless Realm unhurriedly, and after entering the barrier, they restored it back to its original state. The two stood in the sky and watched the battle quietly, ensuring that Voidless Realm's side was in a disadvantageous position. If not, how was his honor going to save the damsel in distress? Although Dong Huang Baiji was fighting against Ying Jingshan, her gaze would occasionally fall onto Wei Chong and Lai Gu. Originally, Dong Huang Baiji thought that they would start a massacre, but they didn't. They seemed to be watching the show from the side, and from time to time, they would kill a few people for fun. This made Dong Huang Baiji very angry, but at the same time, she was also very helpless. If they were to make a move, Voidless Realm would probably be destroyed in an instant. However, they didn't help Ying family too much, and it seems like they are waiting for someone. It must be said that Dong Huang Baiji's feelings were too scary. If she were to find out about this, I reckon that she would not be able to get along with Yi Hua for the rest of her life. The tragic situation was escalating on both sides. Blood had already formed a river on the ground, and countless people were lying on the ground. More than half of Ying family's members had already fallen, and out of the 8 elders from Voidless Realm, only 3 remained. The battle between Heavy Dust and the 3-legged Golden Crow was also very shocking. Both of them had wounds left behind by the other party, and blood was flowing non-stop. The battle was too tragic. However, right now, Donghuang Baiji was gradually suppressing Ying Jingshan, as expected of the North's gang leader. Right now, Ying Jingshan had a lot of wounds on him. Although the wounds weren't fatal, they weren't feeling good either. And on the other hand, Donghuang Baiji's attacks were getting more and more ferocious. Lai Gu, this family head is still useful, don't let the madam kill him. Furthermore, it is about time for the main show to begin. Right now, Wei Chong was the representative of intelligence, and Lai Gu naturally had to listen to him. He didn't want his honor to be troubled by the family matters anymore. Lai Gu shook his dragon tail, and immediately became startled. Why did I shake my dragon tail? I should have roared out. Roar! A dragon roar suddenly rang out, and Lai Gu charged towards Donghuang Baiji. Donghuang Baiji, who was just about to take Ying Jingshan's life, immediately retracted her hand, then quickly dodged to the side. Lai Gu thought to himself, Madam sure is formidable. However, his honor had said to let you suffer a bit. Who asked Madam to be disobedient? In that case, don't blame subordinate, it is all his honor's idea. Divine Dragon Tail Whip. The dragon tail, which brought along a gale, attacked towards Donghuang Baiji. The latter's expression changed. Immediately placing the ancient godly item in front of her body, she quickly formed hand seals. However, this was Lai Gu's attack. No matter how formidable an ancient godly item was, it would not be able to block this attack. Donghuang Baiji's body flew back like a cannonball and crashed onto a mountain. F***ck, Lai Gu, do you want to get roasted by his honor? To attack so heavily. Wei Chong was greatly startled, and he wished that he could break Lai Gu. Lai Gu also panicked. I really didn't do it on purpose, I just casually swung my dragon tail. Chapter 245. Ying Jingshan, who was saved by Lai Gu, carried an incomparably grateful heart as he kowtowed and thanked Lai Gu. However, Lai Gu didn't have the mood to thank Lai Gu. Lai Gu wished that he could slap this trash to death, causing him to slap his wife away. Donghuang Baiji's body could be seen sinking deep into the mountain, and blood could be seen flowing out from the corner of her mouth. However, she did not give up, ferociously attacking towards Lai Gu. Lai Gu, if you injure Madame Donghuang again, his honor will cut you into pieces. Wei Chong warned. Lai Gu is also in a very difficult situation. If I were to intentionally go easy on Madame Shui, the madam would definitely be able to tell, and if I don't go easy on Madame Shui, the madam would be injured. It is really hard to be a subordinate. Voidless Realm was gradually being suppressed by Ying family. Donghuang Baiji was currently fighting against Lai Gu, and all kinds of small injuries appeared on Donghuang Baiji's body. All of them were lacerations. This caused Donghuang Baiji to be very puzzled. He was obviously able to kill me, yet he only gave me a small injury. Just what is the meaning of this? Wei Chong panicked a little. From the expression on Madame Donghuang's face, he could tell that she was starting to suspect something. It couldn't go on like this. Lai Gu, injure the madam and make the madam lose the ability to fight. Oh knock! Lai Gu could be seen opening his huge mouth and letting out a dragon roar. Donghuang Baiji, who was very close to him, had a huge change in expression, and the spiritual energy within her body became extremely chaotic, causing her to spurt out a mouthful of blood. Looking at the corpses on the ground, as well as the soldiers who were gradually retreating, Donghuang Baiji's heart sunk to the bottom. Lai Gu was a bit flustered, and he shouted out in his heart. Madam, quickly run, what are you blanking out for? I vow to protect Voidless Realm with my life. Donghuang Baiji shouted out, then actually attacked towards Lai Gu again. When the soldiers saw the Empress disregard her own life and continue to fight against the evil bone dragon, a surge of strength surged in their hearts, and the blades in their hands became even more ferocious. Lai Gu was about to collapse. What should I do? The script has gone astray. Wei Chong was also anxious. Madame Donghuang was really a woman who was not inferior to a man. No wonder his honor likes her so much, Only a woman like her is worthy to be his honor's wife. But right now the problem is, the madam is not afraid of death anymore. Gluttonous monster, hurry up and think of something. If I continue to hide, madam will become suspicious. Lai Gu didn't dare to touch Dong Huang Baiji anymore. If he were to touch Dong Huang Baiji again, madam might not be able to bear it. Wei Chong bellowed, "What's wrong with you? Why does madam still have the strength to fight?" "I'm afraid that I will make madam faint from my loud roar. It will be very hard to control." Lai Gu was very depressed. This situation was just like when Death Mage fought against Xiao Yi. He could have instantly killed Xiao Yi, but the order he received was to injure Xiao Yi. It was just that he was too strong, so strong that any one of his moves could instantly kill him. It was too difficult to injure him. Lai Gu was in such a situation. Fortunately, even if he were to be reckless, he would not die like Death Mage. "Haven't you finished yet? I have already waited for half a day." Yi Hua's voice rang out in the ears of the two. Wei Chong said hurriedly, "Your Honor, give subordinate a bit more time. I will be done immediately. Madam's battle prowess is a bit high. Be careful. Don't hurt this sovereign's woman. I'm already injured." Lai Gu wanted to cry but had no tears. "If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have accepted this job. I originally wanted to come here to act cool, but in the end..." Forget it, Lai Gu. Be a bit more careful. Don't hurt the madam." Wei Chong warned gravely. Lai Gu had no other choice but to stretch out his dragon claw and accurately poke onto Dong Huang Baiji's ancient godly item. Bang! The ancient godly item immediately broke apart, and a huge amount of energy burst out from the broken ancient godly item, sending Dong Huang Baiji flying away. Lai Gu was stupefied. Wei Chong was stupefied. After a long while, Wei Chong said coldly, "Lai Gu, if you continue like this, you will really be stewed by his honor." "I didn't do it on purpose." Lai Gu wanted to cry. The quality of this ancient godly item is truly not good enough. It broke with just a poke. Dong Huang Baiji landed outside the palace. When the soldiers saw that their empress was sent flying, they immediately rushed over to protect her. There were only 3 elders left: Yuan De, Xing Han, and He Xian. "Your Majesty." Yuan De hurriedly checked on Dong Huang Baiji's injuries. Fortunately, her life is not in danger. Ying family surrounded Dong Huang Baiji and the others in a defensive formation. If it wasn't for Wei Chong and Lai Gu's help, Ying family would indeed not be able to come out alive today. On the other hand, Dong Huang Baiji had the ability to kill Ying Jingshan. Without the Ying family head, Ying family's morale would definitely plummet. Unfortunately, this is only if the morale of everyone in Ying family soared. Ying Jingshan even shouted, "Empress! If you knew this would happen, you wouldn't have acted in the first place." "Pah! For your Ying family to actually ask for help, aren't you afraid of becoming a laughingstock if word of this spreads out?" Dong Huang Baiji slowly stood up and shouted out coldly towards Ying Jingshan. "The winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Your Majesty should understand this, right?" "All right." Ying Jingshan is starting to put on an act. Now that the fight has reached this point, his honor should also appear and subdue Voidless Realm. Just that, what method is his honor going to use to subdue Voidless Realm? This empress is very arrogant. Dong Huang Baiji snorted, "My Voidless Realm never surrenders." As expected of a heroine, I, Ying Jingshan, admire you. Looking at her subordinates that were drenched in blood, Dong Huang Baiji let out a sigh of relief. I didn't expect that Voidless Realm would actually be destroyed in my hands. From the looks of it, I am going to die here today. Ali. In the future, you have to listen to Daddy. Mommy cannot accompany you anymore. Thinking about her daughter, Dong Huang Baiji revealed a tender look on her face. Although Dong Huang Baiji had been taught a lesson by Yi Hua for the past few days, Dong Huang Baiji had truly accompanied her daughter. Recalling Yi Hua's face in his mind, Yi Hua thought to himself, "Yi Hua, take good care of our daughter, don't let her feel wronged. If there is a next life, you must come downstairs and meet me. Then we will be able to live happily together." Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji was startled. Seeing Qingya running over, Dong Huang Baiji shouted out loudly, "Qingya, what are you running out for? Go back quickly." "Baiji, what happened to you?" Qingya hurriedly held onto the weak Dong Huang Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji shook her head. "Qingya, I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry, I got you involved in this as well. We can go call Yihua over. Qingya said hurriedly. At this kind of moment of crisis, there was only one person that appeared in her mind, and that person was Yihua. Donghuang Baizhi laughed bitterly. It's too late. Qingya, take good care of Yihua in the future. What are you planning to do? If we can't beat them, we can run. Donghuang Baizhi shook her head. If I run away, what are they going to do? Qingya, I will get someone to bring you away from here. In the future, Ali will have to depend on you. What nonsense are you saying? Ali needs your care, and Yihua definitely doesn't want to lose you as well. Donghuang Baizhi smiled sweetly. He doesn't want to lose you even more. Hurry up and leave. If he were to find out that I abandoned you and left, wouldn't he whip me to death? Let's leave together. A mouthful of blood flowed out from Donghuang Baizhi's mouth once again, and the blood flowed onto Qingya's clothes. Your Majesty, you retreat first. We will hold up the rear. Yuan Da and the others shouted out while standing in front of Donghuang Baizhi. Donghuang Baizhi fell into Qingya's embrace and mumbled, If Yihua comes, I will forgive him for being so heartless. And we will forgive him together. Wei Chong and Lai Gu were overjoyed, and they hurriedly informed his honor. Yihua was currently holding on to his daughter and waiting anxiously, and suddenly, a message came over. Ali, stay at home properly. Daddy will go and bring Aunt Qing and Mommy back. Yihua said with a smile. Dong Huangli clenched her small fist. Daddy, you can do it. Everyone in Voidless Realm was in despair. Facing against a powerful enemy, even the Empress didn't have any combat strength left. The ancient divine beast had also fallen to the side, and the ancient ferocious beast was the same as well. The entire Voidless Realm felt as if it had been bombarded by a cannon. Suddenly, the sky changed, and rumbling sounds could be heard. A rainbow-colored auspicious cloud floated over from afar, and there was a shadow on top of the rainbow-colored auspicious cloud. That's right, the shadow is Yihua. Just now, Yihua wore a set of handsome armor at home, and he even had his hair sliced back. Furthermore, he seems to have put on a bit too much hair wax, but that doesn't matter, as long as he is handsome enough, it is fine. Qingya and Donghuang Baizhi stared blankly at the rainbow-colored auspicious cloud that was flying over, and the shadow on top of the rainbow-colored auspicious cloud. Tears of joy flowed out from the corners of their eyes. At the moment of life and death, Yihua didn't abandon us this time. He came. He really came. Yihua lightly leaped onto the ground and landed in front of the two women with a calm look on his face. Looking at the back view in front of them, the two women were moved to tears. Meanwhile, Yihua silently took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, then pointed it towards Wei Chong and the others and said faintly, You cannot afford to offend my women. Chapter 246. Yihua's appearance made everyone stupefied, especially at Voidless Realm's side. Looking at this majestic-looking man, then looking at the weak empress who had tears on her face, they seemed to have thought of something. Adding on this man's opening line, it was confirmed. Meanwhile, Ying Jingshan completely did not understand his honor's intentions. His honor wants to protect the empress, yet he wants me to attack the empress, and the main point is that he wants me to keep it a secret. From the looks of it, his honor is also a romantic person. Firstly, he can win over the beauty's heart, and secondly, he can subdue the entire Voidless Realm. Why not? Admirable. Right now, Yihua did not turn his head around. In actuality, he really wanted to turn his head around and look at their expressions, but in order to create a better atmosphere, he cannot turn his head around. The show had just started. Wei Chong, what are their expressions? Yihua asked curiously. Your honor, the madams are all crying. Lai Gu was also extremely happy. Your honor, the madams are truly moved. That's good, but what I want is not just to be moved. I want them to be dead set on me and not be able to leave me for even a second. Continue with the show. Yes. Yes. Who are you? Without waiting for Wei Chong to say his lines, Ying Jingshan snatched Wei Chang's lines. From this, it could be seen that his acting skills are not bad. Yihua had a new view of this Ying Jingshan. His brain works very fast. You bunch of salted fishes think that you are worthy of knowing my name, fools. Yihua said coldly. Yihua had a look of, I am number one under the heavens. Especially when he was smoking. Qingya, who was at the back, laughed lightly, then said to Dong Huang Baiji, his acting cool after smoking syndrome is acting up again. But I like the current him. Dong Huang Baiji muttered. This back view suddenly became so tall and big, and that shattered heart of hers slowly started to heal. Qingya looked at Yihua's back view and said with a smile, I like him too. Hearing the words of the two women at the back, Yihua became very excited. He wished that he could turn around and teach them a lesson right now. Who asked you to run away? Now you know the importance of me. Jingshan frowned slightly. This frown of his was just right. Vividly displayed that expression of dare yet not dare. Your distinguished's courage is truly admirable. It is hard to find a person who is as passionate as your distinguished. Wei Chong and Lai Gu were both stupefied. This Jingshan is so eloquent. Even when he was glaring at me, he didn't forget to flatter me. Meanwhile, everyone from Ying family seemed to have discussed this beforehand, and they were praising Yihua endlessly. Some of the words spoken by some people even caused goosebumps to appear on everyone's body. Right now, Yihua seemed to have been described by Ying family as a god who had descended to the mortal world. A man who was able to hold the pass against 10,000 enemies by himself. Furthermore, for the sake of his true love, Yihua was even willing to disregard his own life. When such discussions fell into the ears of the two women, their pair of beautiful eyes became even more tender. If it wasn't for the fact that there were too many people at the scene, the two women would have already pounced into Yihua's embrace and started talking about how much they missed each other. Wei Chong, what's the situation with the two of them? Yihua secretly asked. Your Honor, it's done. Wei Chong said excitedly. Yihua calmed down. All right then, let's add more fuel to the fire. Looking at Jingshan, Yihua said slowly. I didn't expect that my intentions and character would actually be seen through by you. If you want to bully them today, you'll have to ask me first. Yihua. They are very powerful, especially those two. Dong Huang Baiji said concernedly. Yihua didn't turn his head around and said faintly, when men speak, you women just have to obediently watch. You are indeed domineering. You are the most domineering person I have ever seen. As he spoke, he even cupped his hands. His acting skills were off the charts. The members of the Ying family all expressed that they had never seen such a domineering man, and they all expressed their respect for him. Dong Huang Baiji naturally heard what Yihua said as well. Dong Huang Baiji felt that the moment Yihua arrived, the entire scene became different. Even the enemies were praising Yihua non-stop. Dong Huang Baiji felt that as long as Yihua waved his hand, all of the winners would listen to his orders. One couldn't help but say that Dong Huang Baiji's sixth sense was extremely terrifying. If she were to know that all of this was just an act for them to see, she would definitely collapse. Yihua flicked away the cigarette butt and said gravely, It is better for you to speak less of these flattering words. Let's see who's more powerful. Let me test the depth of your martial arts. Wei Chong slowly walked out. Everyone in Voidless Realm held their breaths. From the very start, this shadowy figure had not moved at all. This shadowy figure might be the most terrifying existence in the entire Voidless Realm. Yihua, don't go. Dong Huang Baiji said anxiously. Yihua still didn't turn his head around and said faintly, I will bring you two home later. 1,000 words cannot compare to a family. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji were truly moved by Yihua. Right now, they were willing to do whatever Yihua wanted them to do. Yihua slowly floated into the sky, and a long blade appeared in his hand. The blade was emitting out killing intent, causing everyone to exclaim in admiration. As expected of an expert. If your excellency is able to win against me, I will retreat. Wei Chong began walking according to the script. Yihua snorted. Want to leave? How can it be that easy? After finished speaking, Yihua slashed down with his blade. Wei Chong shouted out loudly. Come at me. Your excellency's martial arts indeed astonish me. Haha. To be able to block my blade, I will consider you to be quite capable. Your excellency, I am going to use my true abilities next. Just what I wanted. The two of them spoke according to their script, causing everyone below the stage to become extremely excited. Such a powerful duel, even if they were to just watch it, they would be able to comprehend something. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji's beautiful eyes were filled with worry. Yihua, you must not get into any trouble. If you die, We won't be able to continue living on our own. If Yi Hua was able to hear their confession, he would definitely be excited to death. Lai Gu raised his head and looked at his honor and Wei Chong. Such good acting skills. No wonder Wei Chong left such an important role for me. If I were to play the role, I would definitely lose a lot of influence. Shadow flow consecutive slash. Yi Hua's hand trembled, and the golden blade light appeared exceptionally dazzling, seemingly as if it was going to connect the heaven and the earth, causing everyone to exclaim in admiration. Wei Chong said with a deep voice, "Your Excellency's blade technique has already reached the acme of perfection, causing me to exclaim in admiration. However, it is still not enough." Dark acupoint. A black whirlpool could be seen condensing in front of Wei Chong, and the numerous blade lights were directly devoured by the whirlpool. Soon after, all of the blade lights were reflected back. The numerous blade lights that brought along destruction attacked towards Yi Hua. Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji, who were below the stage, didn't dare to look anymore. Yi Hua shouted out coldly, "You dare to be impudent in front of me with insignificant skills." Yi Hua raised the blade in his hand high up and slashed down. A blade energy that was even more powerful than the previous blade energy emerged, and the color of the world changed. Wei Chong said faintly, "Your Excellency is indeed formidable, then I will not hold back anymore. Come, let me see your strength." "Your Excellency will have to be careful then." Wei Chang's body suddenly erupted with a power that could destroy the world, and the entire voidless realm was trembling. And under this terrifying power, the blade energy that Wei Chong sent out just now turned into thin air. Chapter 247. Right now, Ying Jingshan was truly speechless. Death Mage is already very formidable, but this shadowy figure is even more formidable than Death Mage. Furthermore, there is also the Bone Dragon at the side. Just how many formidable subordinates does his honor have? Yuanda was shocked to the point that he was speechless. After a long while he said, "Empress's husband is truly formidable." He Xian nodded his head. "These two are the strongest people I have ever seen. This kind of battle is unprecedented. For Empress to have such a husband, we can finally be at ease." Xing Han sighed repeatedly. How could Donghuang Baiji have the mood to listen to those things right now? Her beautiful eyes were fixedly staring at the sky. Wei Chang's entire body seemed to have turned into a black fog, and that black fog was like a blade, stabbing out from all kinds of weird angles. Streams of berserk aura engulfed voidless realm, and the scene looked just like the end of the world. Of course, this was just a fight for show. If they were to really fight, this place would have long turned into ruins. Everyone was imagining the result of the fight with the shadowy figure. There was only one result, and that was being insta-killed. The speed of the two could be seen becoming faster and faster, to the point that they had already disappeared. Qingya mumbled, "Where are they?" Donghuang Baiji tightly wrinkled her brows. "This kind of battle is not something we can imagine. It is possible that they have entered into another space. Let's just wait quietly." Inside the bar, Yi Hua placed down the blade in his hand, poured himself a cup of wine, then raised his head and drank it. "Comfortable." "Congratulations, Your Honor. The madams firmly believe in you." Wei Chong knelt down on one knee to express his sincerity. Yi Hua turned around and said, "Wei Chong, your contributions this time cannot go unnoticed. You can ask for anything that you want. I will agree to anything. It is my duty to share His Honor's worries." Wei Chong said respectfully, carrying incomparable sincerity. Yi Hua sat on the high chair and said faintly, "Wei Chong, during these 5 years, I have seen the changes that you have undergone. You have indeed improved a lot. To be able to receive Your Honor's praise is the biggest reward for subordinate. Subordinate will definitely pledge my loyalty to you. I am looking forward to your performance in the future. Subordinate will definitely not disappoint Your Honor." After pouring himself another cup of wine, Yi Hua said gravely, "This hero saving the beauty scene is more or less done. There won't be much use if we continue acting. I feel that it is time for us to reverse the situation." "Your Honor is wise. Subordinate feels the same way too. It's just that subordinate is afraid of harming Your Honor's holy body." Yi Hua let out a sigh. "In the past, I felt that the love and affection of those humans are all illusory. What's the use of having love and affection?" However, after coming into contact with Qingya and the others, Only then did I understand how to be a qualified husband. For the sake of this family's harmony, what harm is there for me to suffer a little injury? It seemed that there was a trick of injuring oneself to gain the confidence of others behind this act of saving the damsel in distress. It was truly interlinked and impossible to guard against. For Qingya and Donghuang Baiji to get together with such a man, it was unknown whether it was a blessing or a disaster. Your Honor, subordinate feels that such a small injury won't be effective. Oh, Wei Chong said gravely. Subordinate believes that his honor is going to suffer a serious injury. This way, the madams will be even more loyal to his honor. After all, for the madams, his honor is even willing to give up his life. And that makes sense. Yi Hua nodded his head. Then he asked, then what is considered a serious injury? Your Honor, subordinate feels that by temporarily pretending to lose his cultivation and become paralyzed, the madams will definitely feel guilty towards his honor, and from there, they will take good care of his honor. And his honor will be able to enjoy the care of the madams every day, and he won't even need to move his hands. Yi Hua looked at Wei Chong blankly, then slammed onto the table. Wei Chong, you are truly smarter than Zhu Tian. If I become paralyzed, then I will have to be taken care of by the madams. Things like bathing, peeling crayfish, massaging, they will have to properly serve me, and I will only have to move my mouth. There is nothing better than having them serve me. Subordinate is also doing this to make his honor happy. Just that, subordinate feels apologetic for having to harm his honor's holy body later on. Wei Chong, there is no need for you to apologize. This is all for my family. It has been hard on you. Subordinate is afraid. Wei Chong deeply lowered his head. Lighting up a stick of cigarette, Yi Hua said faintly, it's time for me to suffer a bit. Your Honor, the props have all been prepared. Wei Chong could be said to be very responsible. Everything had been properly arranged. Yi Hua laughed lightly. What I want is authenticity. I will not do things that are fake. Wei Chong sighed with emotion, then said sincerely, for the sake of the madams, his honor did not hesitate to harm himself. From this, it can be seen that his honor's comprehension of human nature has increased by another level. Subordinate is truly ashamed. Human nature is truly a good thing. I am starting to like it more and more. After finished speaking, Yi Hua extinguished the cigarette. Soon after, Yi Hua slapped onto the armor that he was wearing, and cracks appeared on the armor. The armor that was originally covering his entire body revealed his shoulders, and his waist was also shattered. From the looks of it, Yi Hua seemed to have suffered from a huge attack. Afterward, Yi Hua used both of his hands to poke his hair, making it look a bit more decadent. Afterward, Yi Hua took out a small knife and made a wound on his body. Furthermore, it was the kind of wound where the skin and flesh were split open. Without blood to serve as a foil, how could it be visually shocking? Then, Yi Hua casually wiped his face a few more times, and with that, his task was completed. Qingya, Donghuang Baiji, for the sake of the two of you, I did not hesitate to harm myself. From now on, the two of you have to be obedient. I will not do such a thing next time. Waving onto the mirror, Yi Hua asked, Wei Chong, how do I look like? Your Honor, subordinate admires you. Yi Hua lit up another stick of cigarette, then discussed with Wei Chong about the lines and moves that he was going to use next. Within Voidless Realm, everyone was waiting for the two to appear, but 30 minutes had already passed, and the two had yet to appear. This caused Qingya and Donghuang Baiji to be extremely nervous, fearing that something bad would happen to Yi Hua. Suddenly, two figures appeared in the air once again, and the two could be seen quickly separating from each other. Everyone couldn't help but take in a breath of cold air. There was no change to the shadowy figure, but Yi Hua appeared to be very weak. The armor that was on his body was already broken, and blood was everywhere on his body. His face was pale, and he looked as if he was going to die soon. Yi Hua! Yi Hua! The two women shouted out towards Yi Hua, who was in the air. Their tears were like a dam bursting, and their hearts felt as if it was being twisted by a knife. Yi Hua was delighted. I didn't waste my effort and conscience. Yi Hua blinked his eyes towards Wei Chong. Wei Chong immediately understood what Yi Hua meant. His figure flashed, and a lump of black fog sent Yi Hua flying. Very accurately, Wei Chong landed in front of Qingya and Donghuang Baiji. When Lai Gu saw how ruthless Wei Chong was, he thought to himself, aren't you afraid that his honor will kill your Xiao Tang? Don't you know that his honor had praised Wei Chong just now? For the sake of shocking Yi Hua, Wei Chong used quite a bit of strength when he smashed Yi Hua's body. Yi Hua! The two women sprinted over and carried Yi Hua, who was in the hole, into their embrace. Yi Hua was feeling very happy in his heart, but he wasn't able to show it out. This kind of feeling was truly painful. Qingya felt very guilty as she wiped off the bloodstains on Yi Hua's face in a flurry, then said while crying, "Yi Hua, don't scare me." Chapter 248. Yi Hua slowly raised both of his hands and used his bloodied fingers to wipe off the two women's tears, then said weakly, "The two of you are so disobedient, I really want to spank the two of you." "You're still thinking of lecturing us at a time like this?" Dong Huang Baiji cried out. Although Dong Huang Baiji was wearing an empress gown, she no longer had the aura of an empress. Qingya said, "Yi Hua, I promise that I will listen to you in the future, nothing will happen to you." Yi Hua looked towards the sky and mumbled, "I really want to go home with you all." After finished speaking, Yi Hua wanted to puke out a mouthful of blood, but in the end, no matter how much he tried to puke it out, he was unable to do so. Only after he secretly poked himself did he have a reaction. Sure enough, with the addition of vomiting blood, the scene was even sadder. This demeanor. He was vomiting blood. These lines. Filled with longing and longing for home. This year's Best Actor award belongs to you. Wei Chong, who was in the sky, was also shocked by his honor's acting skills. All of this was done on the spot, especially that last line of his honors. It was just too awesome. Sure enough, as soon as he said that, the two women burst into tears. Yi Hua snickered in his heart, and he was about to be unable to hold back his laughter. In actuality, during these 2 days, Yi Hua had specially gone to ask Qing Yutong about acting skills. Just like in Iron Man 1, the protagonist's last sentence, "I am Iron Man," actually, the line was not like that, but it was this kind of improvisation that created the next series. The atmosphere at the scene became sentimental, and the people from Voidless Realm all felt that the Empress's husband was amazing. It was a man. He had come here alone and fought against the shadowy figure. Facing such a powerful figure, he had persisted for so long. He had not come here for fame, but to bring his wife home. He was a true man. Voidless Realm's officers and soldiers seemed to have been infected by Yi Hua, and their eyes turned red. The members of the Ying family were all dumbfounded. Was this an act? Why does it feel so real? From the looks of it, Yi Hua's goal had been achieved, and he managed to deceive even his own people. Wei Chong felt that it was about time. Today's matter should have come to an end. Slowly landing, Wei Chong said indifferently, "Your courage is admirable, you are a true hero. What else do you want?" The two women could be seen protecting Yi Hua behind them. As an ordinary person, Qing Ya's courage was commendable. Seeing these two foolish women standing in front of him to protect him, Yi Hua's heart felt warm. This kind of feeling was something that he had never felt before. He had also experienced the feeling of being a death mage, and his heart was at peace. Wei Chong sighed with emotion in his heart. The madams are truly great, to be able to protect his honor even in this kind of situation. However, the script still has to continue. I admire the two of you. Even in such a situation where there is such a great disparity in strength, you are still protecting your husband. It would not be an exaggeration to say that you are a heroine. Wei Chang's flattery skills had already reached the pinnacle. Of course, it was also improvised. After a pause, Wei Chang asked, "Are you willing to die for the man behind you?" Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji slowly stood up and stood in front of Yi Hua. Their meaning couldn't be any more obvious. If Yi Hua wants to kill our man, then he will have to step over our corpses. Your Honor, it is time to wake up. I can't continue acting anymore. Wei Chong hurriedly contacted Wei Chong. All right, Yi Hua felt great in his heart. Next up, it's my turn to go on stage. You two silly women, I don't need your protection. Yi Hua pulled the two women behind him. Yahua! Yahua! Yi Hua shouted out coldly. Back down, if not, I will kill the two of you. All right, Yi Hua is now the master of the situation. He is able to shout at Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji, and the two of them are still extremely touched. As expected of a big swindler, he doesn't even have to pay with his life. Wei Chong seemed to have been stunned by Yi Hua's actions and said gravely, Your distinguished is still able to stand up even after receiving such a heavy injury. This tenacity of yours is enough to convince me. If your distinguished is able to receive a palm strike from me today, I will retreat. Yihua, don't. The two women immediately stopped Yihua. Yihua is already in such a state. If he were to receive a palm strike from me, he will definitely die. Yihua silently took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, seemingly like he was tasting the last cigarette in his life. Looking at Yihua's smoking posture, the people from Voidless Realm fell into a sorrowful atmosphere. Let alone the two women, they were about to faint from crying. When Wei Chong and Lai Gu saw how his honor was acting for them, they simply prostrated themselves in admiration. His honor truly doesn't let go of any opportunity to act cool. The time it took to finish a stick of cigarette was very fast. After flicking away the cigarette butt, Yihua raised his head slightly and said faintly, "Qingya." I'm here. Qingya said hurriedly while supporting Yihua. Properly give birth to our child in the future, I won't be able to take care of you anymore, and I also won't be able to let you hug me when you sleep. Everyone listened to Yihua's passionate confession before his death. Even the people from Ying family were deceived by Yihua's acting. This is too touching, I really want to cry. So there is actually such a man who is so infatuated with love in this world. Qingya shouted out, Yihua, I won't allow you to die. Without you, how am I going to be able to sleep at night? If you are going to die, I will buy a bunch of dolls. That's fine, let the dolls replace me then, but those dolls must have my name written on them. Hearing what Yihua said, Qingya was already sobbing uncontrollably. Baiji. Yihua called out lightly, seemingly as if he was leaving behind his last words. Yihua, I'm here. Donghuang Baiji held onto Yihua's other side. Yihua asked calmly, Do you still hate me for not meeting you back then? I hate you. F***K. I am already in such a state, and you still hate me? Do you even have a bit of conscience? But I hate you for wanting to leave me again. You scared me so much that I jumped in fright. Baiji, it's a pity that I won't be able to properly compensate you. Take good care of Ali. Let her know that Daddy sacrificed himself to save Mommy. No. You have to take care of Ali together with me. Ali can't live without a father. Donghuang Baiji shouted out with heartache, and that hoarse voice of hers caused everyone's heart to shatter. Wei Chong and Lai Gu felt that his honor's acting was very lively, and they were almost moved by it. It seems like his honor is really going to die. If I am given another chance, I will definitely go downstairs back then and not let you down. From start to finish, Yihua was looking at the sky, but it was precisely because of this that everyone felt that Yihua was so cool. I know, Yihua, don't leave me again. In actuality, the reason why Yihua was looking at the sky was because he was about to not be able to hold it in any longer and was about to laugh out loud. However, when Yihua laughed out loud, his life would definitely change drastically. In the future, he would only have the life of being a loner. All right, the two of you take good care of each other in the future. Your husband will be leaving first. Yihua lightly pushed out with both of his hands, restraining Qingya and Donghuang Baiji to prevent them from disturbing him. Yihua! Yihua! The two women's heart-wrenching screams resounded throughout Voidless Realm, and everyone was affected by this touching love story. Yihua slowly rose into the sky while carrying his weak body, then said coldly towards Wei Chong, You better keep your promise. I didn't expect that your distinguished would sacrifice yourself for the sake of your true love. I am far inferior to your distinguished. Chapter 249. Stop with these flattering words, come. Yihua shouted out gravely, and his body that was originally slightly bent gradually straightened up. Although it was just a small detail, it was the detail that determined success or failure. That kind of great figure was immediately engraved in people's hearts, which had already exceeded the scope of acting. Wei Chong went into a slight daze. As expected, his honor is formidable. Wei Chong shouted out, Since your distinguished has decided, then I won't be polite anymore. Turbulent energy suddenly burst out, the color of heaven and earth instantly changed, and thunder rumbled. Facing against this berserk aura, Yihua's expression remained unchanged. This courage of Yihua's caused the people from Voidless Realm to exclaim in admiration endlessly. Everyone said that the Empress has found a good man. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji sat on the ground and looked at their man foolishly. If I had known that it would be like this, I wouldn't have quarreled with Yi Hua. After today, even if I wanted to quarrel with someone, there wouldn't be anyone to quarrel with. Donghuang Baiji became even more regretful. If I didn't go and ask for Yi Hua's hand in marriage, Ying family wouldn't have attacked Voidless Realm, and Yi Hua wouldn't have died miserably. But there was no medicine for regret in this world. Berserk energy was currently gathering, and the black figure could be seen immediately transforming into a huge palm that carried a power that seemed to be able to destroy the world and attack Yi Hua. Of course, Wei Chong wouldn't really slap his honor's body over. If he were to slap his honor's body would definitely not be able to endure it, and his honor's body would be revealed. If that was the case, his honor would be finished. Just as it was about to touch Yi Hua's chest, it retracted all of its power. But even if it was to be recycled, the effect of the scene still had to be created. The special effects were absolutely conscientious. The huge airwave engulfed the entire voidless realm, and the mountains that were floating in the sky collided with each other one after another. It could be seen that voidless realm was going to have to be renovated. Yi Hua nodded towards Wei Chong, then puked out a mouthful of blood and flew out. He fell directly in front of the two women. His entire body was lifeless, and he looked no different from a dead person. Donghuang Baiji stared blankly at Yi Hua, then suddenly puked out a mouthful of blood and fainted. To her, this kind of blow was too big. Donghuang Baiji had just reunited with Yi Hua, and there were still a lot of things that she wanted to talk to him about. Donghuang Baiji didn't expect that they would be separated by life and death so quickly. At this moment, Donghuang Baiji's maiden heart died, and she fell asleep together with Yi Hua. On the other hand, Qingya did not faint. Her expression was a bit sluggish, as if she had become stupid. No one at the scene spoke. They didn't even dare to breathe too loudly. A hero like this had gone through a difficult battle, but in the end, he still fell. The people from Voidless Realm were in great pain. The members of the Ying family were completely dumbfounded, and they couldn't even tell if it was true or not. Wei Chong began to make his closing remarks. This person's bravery is like that of a celestial being. I am sincerely convinced. Today's matter ends here. Sorry for disturbing you. Wei Chong was very satisfied. From now on, his honor's life should be filled with happiness. As his honor's subordinate, I am also endlessly happy. The people from Voidless Realm let out a sigh of relief. Ying Jingshan came back to his senses, then cupped his hands towards Yi Hua and said, "You are the most affectionate man that I have ever seen. I am ashamed." Everyone from Ying family cupped their hands towards Yi Hua. It was fortunate that they did not kneel down, if not, the dead Yi Hua would definitely jump up. The battle finally ended, and the Ying family began to evacuate. "You can't leave." His voice wasn't loud, but it reached everyone's ears. His tone was very cold and filled with pain. It made the listener feel especially uncomfortable, as if their hearts were blocked. Ying Jingshan said to Qingya apologetically, "Please restrain your grief. You can't leave." Qingya's voice was filled with certainty, and it was also filled with Qingya's obsession towards Yi Hua. Yi Hua, who was lying on the ground, felt his heart sink. "I am not dead yet. Why didn't you come over and check on me?" "Wei Chong, what happened to Qingya?" Yi Hua hurriedly contacted Wei Chong. Wei Chong said gravely, "I don't know, the madam is acting very strangely." Lai Gu was also very confused. "Your Honor, the madam's expression is a bit strange." "You guys, take a good look at me. If anything happens to Qingya, I will stew you." Yi Hua was also a bit panicked. The plot was going well. Why did something unexpected suddenly occur? Wei Chong said hurriedly, "Madam, please calm down. Why don't you check on your husband first?" Yi Hua wished that he could slap Wei Chong to death. "This sentence of yours has too many loopholes." Right now, Wei Chong was also panicking. Fortunately, Donghuang Baiji had fainted, and Qingya didn't listen to what Wei Chong said. "You guys are going to be buried together with my husband." A roar resounded throughout the world. Boom! A ray of white light descended from the sky and immediately enveloped Qingya within it. A huge amount of spiritual energy gathered around Qingya, and the surrounding people couldn't help but retreat as they stared dumbfoundedly at the ray of white light that descended from the sky. Wei Chong was stupefied. Lai Gu was stupefied. Everyone in Ying family's jaws were about to drop onto the ground. Voidless Realms people were stupefied. Yihua also sensed the change in Qingye, and he was also extremely astonished. What is going on? Is Qingye going to become Ultraman? The ray of white light that descended from the sky became denser and denser, and it even brought along a godly might, which was very similar to Donghuang Baizhi. Yuanda sensed it, and his eyeballs were about to pop out. Yuanda wasn't the only one who sensed the special godly might. Xing Han and He Xian had also sensed it. This is Nuwa's bloodline. She is actually Nuwa's descendant. Ying Jingshan looked at the ray of white light blankly. No wonder his honor would treat them like this. Each of their identities is more powerful than the other. Even Nuwa's bloodline has appeared. This also means that another crisis is descending. According to rumors, during the ancient era, the Heaven Emperor gave an order to suppress the humans, but the humans resisted. Thus, the Heaven Emperor sent out Nuwa to destroy the humans and recreate the humans that worshipped the gods. Who knew that Nuwa would disobey the Heaven Emperor's order and descend to the mortal world to protect the humans? The celestial ruler was furious. He removed Nuwa's godly record and sent out godly generals to destroy the earth. Nuwa led the humans to resist the celestial ruler. In the end, Nuwa died of exhaustion. Her descendants flowed into the human world and protected the humans for generations. However, in the end, she was still going against the gods. Nuwa's descendants became fewer and fewer, until today, when Qingye awakened her bloodline. Many people felt it. If such a thing didn't happen, Qingye wouldn't be able to awaken in this lifetime. Qingye's rage was soaring. Qingye actually broke through the strange seal and awakened the Eastern Emperor bloodline within her body. One must know that even Donghuang Baizhi has yet to awaken the Eastern Emperor bloodline. Because the Eastern Emperor bloodline can only be inherited by males, that was the reason why Yuanda was so anxious to let the Empress give birth to a male child. When Yihua sensed the aura that Qingye was emitting out, he was extremely shocked. Although she is a bit weaker than Wei Chong and the others, she is still stronger than Death Mage. As expected of my wife, she is able to give me surprises one after another. Wei Chong, why are you still standing there? Run! Before Wei Chong could even react, the white light that descended from the sky instantly disappeared. Right now, Qingye seemed to have completely changed into a different person. Even the clothes that she was wearing had changed. Qingye was wearing a cyan-colored silk gown that was embroidered with butterflies and green patterns. Her hair was coiled into a unique cloud bun, and the godly might that was emitting out from her body couldn't help but make people have the urge to kneel down. Right now, Qingye had completely changed. Saying that she was a fairy would be an understatement. She was a true goddess-like figure. Wei Chong looked at Qingye blankly, and Qingye disappeared from where she was standing. Wei Chong was startled. A berserk aura came from behind Wei Chong. Chapter 250. Qingye had indeed gone berserk. She wanted to kill all of these people and bury them together with Yihua. Qingye's eyes were as cold as ice. The current Qingye was even more inhumane than Yihua. Wei Chong did not dare to injure Qingye. After all, he had already injured one of them. If he were to injure another one, it would be hard to say. Wei Chang's figure flashed and dodged Qingye's attack, then immediately teleported everyone to Ying family's island. Madam's might is too terrifying. Luckily I didn't bring Death Mage over today. Otherwise, I would have definitely been killed by the madam. Qingye's beautiful eyes turned cold, and she prepared to chase after Yihua. Wei Chong underestimated Qingye's desire for revenge too much. Yihua's death caused Qingye's heart to be torn apart. If not for her awakening, Qingye reckoned that she would have already died together with Yihua. That was why Yihua almost went overboard this time. And right now, he was not much better off. Feeling that Qingye was going to chase after Yihua and start a massacre, Yihua had no choice but to wake up. If he didn't wake up now, it would be hard to clean up the mess. Qingye! Yihua shouted out weakly, but he did not open his eyes, seemingly as if he was talking in his sleep. Qingye, who was preparing to chase after Yihua, went into a daze. She slowly turned her head around and looked towards Yihua, then instantly appeared beside Yihua and pressed onto Yihua's chest. Her originally cold expression suddenly loosened up, and tears of joy flowed out from her eyes. Yihua let out a sigh of relief. Finally, there is someone who came to check on me. If I was really injured, it would be very awkward for you all to leave me here. In actuality, I can still be saved. It can only be said that Yihua acted too much. Everyone thought that he was dead. Qingya could be seen carrying Yihua in her embrace and said tenderly, "Yihua, let's go home." In an instant, the three disappeared from Voidless Realm. Inside the bedroom, Qingya placed Yihua and Donghuang Baizhi on the bed. Right now, Yihua's armor had already disappeared, and the wounds all over his body caused Qingya's heart to break. Yihua's external injuries were rather easy to deal with. Qingya's delicate hands lightly caressed onto Yihua's chest, and Yihua's entire body could be seen emitting out a faint white light. The wounds on Yihua's body gradually healed. However, Qingya discovered that there was not a single bit of spiritual energy left within Yihua's body, and even his nerves were broken. This meant that not only did Yihua lose his power, he also lost the ability to move. Qingya blamed herself very much, but as long as Yihua is still alive, even if he is paralyzed, I will still take care of him for my entire life and properly love him. In the past, it was Yihua who protected me. Then, from today onwards, it will be me who will protect Yihua and not allow him to come to any harm. Donghuang Baizhi's injuries were still fine. It was just that she had fainted due to grief. Qingya easily woke up Donghuang Baizhi. The Donghuang Baizhi who woke up had a pair of empty eyes, as if she was just an empty shell. "Baizhi, Yihua didn't die," Qingya said tenderly. Spirit could be seen gradually returning to Donghuang Baizhi's gaze. Soon after, Donghuang Baizhi suddenly sat up and held onto Qingya's hand. "Qingya, is what you said true?" Qingya smiled lightly. "You will know once you take a look." Donghuang Baizhi didn't notice that Yihua was lying beside her, and she hurriedly checked on Yihua's condition. Although Yihua didn't die, if Yihua were to find out about his condition, he would definitely wish that he was dead. However, right now, Yihua was already aware of his own situation. If he didn't make it real, how could he possibly make them fall for it? After saving the beauties like a hero, he would definitely be able to enjoy the service of the beauties. This made Yihua very excited. As expected, all of the women that I have taken a fancy to are outstanding. They didn't throw my face, and when I bring them out, I will be able to gain face as well. Their looks are high, and their martial arts are high. Being a human really feels great. However, Yihua wasn't in a hurry to wake up yet. After suffering from such heavy injuries, how could he wake up so quickly? At the very least, he would need to sleep for a few hours. These few days, I have been a bit tired. "Mommy, Aunt Qing, you two really came back." Donghuang Li could be seen suddenly opening the door and walking into the house. Seeing that her daughter had come over, Donghuang Baizhi hugged her daughter into her embrace and cried out softly. "Mommy, what happened to you? Didn't Daddy go to pick you two up? Why are you lying on the bed?" Donghuang Li asked curiously. Hearing those naive words, Qingya and Donghuang Baizhi's tears flowed down endlessly. Daddy, wake up, Ali is here." Donghuang Li shook Yihua who was sleeping. Yihua naturally didn't tell his daughter about his plan, and he only told his daughter that he would go and pick them up. Yihua who was sleeping was very gloomy. Hearing his daughter's childish voice calling out to him, he couldn't bear to wake her up anymore. "Ali, Daddy is asleep. Don't disturb Daddy's sleep." Donghuang Baizhi hugged her daughter into her embrace. Meanwhile, Donghuang Li was already crying out loudly. "Don't, Ali doesn't want Daddy to sleep. Ali wants Daddy to hug her." Yihua really wanted to get up and hug his daughter to tell her that he was fine. However, if he were to get up all of a sudden, it would be game over. Right now, Qingya suddenly rose to power, and she isn't afraid of me anymore. If I were to scold her a few times, wouldn't she be able to soar into the sky? Seeing that her daughter was crying endlessly, Donghuang Baizhi could only use a spell to put her daughter to sleep. "Qingya, your bloodline." When Donghuang Baizhi woke up, she immediately noticed that something was wrong with Qingya. Qingya shook her head. "I don't know either." Donghuang Baizhi didn't know much about Nuwa's bloodline, only those old men knew about it. Right now, Donghuang Baizhi only felt that Qingya had awakened some kind of bloodline. Back then, when Yihua accompanied Qingya to the hospital for a checkup, that little monk used his fiery golden eyes to see through Yihua's true body. Coincidentally, that little monk also saw Qingya's true body, which was why he was so scared that he ran away. After all, Nuwa's bloodline was too rare, and Nuwa was someone who went against the Heaven Emperor. Niuhua clan's mission was to protect the common people, and Yihua's mission in the past was to exterminate the common people. Right now, it wasn't any better. Life was full of surprises, and this was also what Yihua was looking for. Right now, Qingye had awakened her bloodline, and all the more, she wouldn't let Yihua kill people recklessly. Perhaps, while Yihua was killing people at the front, she would be saving people at the back. Qingye, let's give it a try. With our strength, we might be able to help Yihua stand up again. Dong Huang Baiji suggested. They indeed had the ability to help Yihua, but Yihua did it on purpose. Even if an overlord came to save him, he wouldn't be able to do anything. Qingye nodded her head. There is no way to help Yihua regain his lost strength, but at the very least, Yihua will be able to stand up again. The two of them helped Yihua up. Yihua, who had just fallen asleep, was woken up again. This is so painful. Can't you let me rest for a while? Sitting cross-legged behind Yihua, Qingye pressed onto Yihua's back with her delicate hands and continuously channeled spiritual energy into Yihua's body, healing Yihua's injuries. After a long while, the two of them checked on Yihua again, and they let out a heavy sigh. There is no effect. It might be that the shadowed man's special technique that caused Yihua to become paralyzed. The two of them took a look at each other, and Qingye didn't say anything. Dong Huang Baiji held onto Yihua's hand and placed it on her chest, and prayed in her heart. Just like that, the two of them accompanied Yihua by his side, and let Yihua look at them the moment he woke up. Perhaps this way, Yihua wouldn't be so sad anymore. How could Yihua possibly be sad? Even in his dreams, he might even wake up laughing. Right now, Yihua was sleeping soundly. Chapter 251. In Qing Yutong's bedroom. Zizi, brother-in-law, is back from acting cool. Qing Yutong said in a low voice. Zizi put down her mouse and picked up the spicy strip beside her. She ate it with relish, not worried at all. He was very curious about eldest sister-in-law. I feel that eldest cousin-in-law has changed after coming back. Zizi pouted, and her two ponytails swayed behind her head as if she needed someone to hold them back. Qing Yutong silently nodded her head. This time, when Big Sister came back, she brought along a strange aura, and the feedback that the system gave Qing Yutong was stupefied. According to the system's judgment, this was actually the bloodline of Niuhua? My dad is Niuhua? Obviously not. Aunt Wang doesn't look like a descendant of Niuhua. Could it be that Big Sister is? Picked it up? It seems like my sister's background is very mysterious now. Qing Yutong said solemnly. Let's go over and take a look and cooperate with brother-in-law. Okay, then we'll cooperate with big cousin. Should we cry? It doesn't seem to be too appropriate, right? Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. After speaking, the two arrived at Yihua's bedroom. Sis, why are you back? The best actress was indeed the best actress. Her acting skills were flawless. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji stayed by Yihua's side and remained silent. What's wrong with brother-in-law? Is he dead? Qing Yutong cried out in surprise. Zizi let out a cry of surprise, and tears streamed down her face. Big cousin, you died so miserably. Qing Yutong blankly looked at Zizi. Didn't I say that I won't cry? Then cry. Wah, brother-in-law, you died so miserably. I didn't even get to see you one last time. You still didn't tell me where you hid those top-notch spicy gluten. Dong Huang Baiji and Qingye were both stupefied by the scene that was happening. The one who was even more stupefied was Yihua. I was clearly sleeping well, and suddenly, I heard the sound of ghosts wailing and wolves howling. I don't know if I was snoring just now or not. If I was snoring, that would really be awkward. You too, lower your voice, he's not dead yet. Qingye glared at her younger sister. Qing Yutong and Zizi stopped crying and laughed dryly. It turns out that brother-in-law is still alive. Sorry for bothering you. We're going to play games now, he said as he pulled Zizi away. At the same time, Qing Yutong also confirmed that her big sister had truly transformed into Ultraman. The power of bloodline is indeed awesome. I had painstakingly followed the system to complete the mission to reach my current achievement, and big sister is just like a GM. Directly leveling up her level to the max looks like I'll have to hug my big sister's thigh tightly in the future. This is incredible. Brother-in-law and big sister are flying at the same time. What is there for me to be afraid of? I should go and stir up some trouble with Zizi. Yi Hua, who was lying on the bed, felt that it was about time for him to get up, and he was a bit nervous. Let's see how their reaction is first. Yi Hua could be seen slowly opening his eyes with a confused look on his face. Seems like he is not done yet. Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji were both overjoyed, and the two looked at Yi Hua with concern. Where am I? Yi Hua asked weakly. The two women cried tears of joy, and Qing Ya said while choking with sobs, Yi Hua, we are home. No wonder it looks so familiar. I'm a bit thirsty. Yi Hua began hinting at Yi Hua. Donghuang Baiji immediately understood. I'll pour some water for you. Yi Hua expressed that he was very pleased. Seems like this is the only way to make the two of them obedient. Look at me now. Just by saying that I'm thirsty, the two of them obediently went to pour some water for me. Yi Hua, the water is here. Don't move, I'll feed you. Donghuang Baiji said tenderly. She didn't have the airs of an empress at all, and she didn't have that fierce aura from before either. Yi Hua's expression turned cold. Do I, a man, need you to feed me? This sentence was just right, and it fully displayed Yi Hua's pride. Hearing that, the two women's hearts sunk. If he knew that he couldn't move, he would definitely break down. Be good. Be obedient. Donghuang Baiji was coaxing a child, causing Yi Hua to not know whether to laugh or cry. Meanwhile, Qing Ya held onto Yi Hua's hand tightly, not having the heart to see Yi Hua suffer. It's time to feel. Why can't I move my hand? Yi Hua cried out in surprise, and his face was filled with astonishment. And my spiritual energy, where did it all go? Right now, Yi Hua appeared to be very crazy, just like a billionaire who went bankrupt. He didn't dare to accept what was happening in front of him. His acting skills were off the charts. Why is it like this? Yi Hua shouted out angrily. Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji hurriedly leaned onto Yi Hua's hand and held onto it. Yi Hua, don't get agitated. Right now, you indeed don't have any spiritual energy left, and your body is also unable to move. Qing Ya said with pain in her heart. Looking at Yi Hua's crazy expression, Qing Ya felt as if her heart was being cut by a knife. He was a man who liked to act cool, and now that he was paralyzed in the future, not to mention acting cool, even when he takes a bath, he would have to be served by me and Donghuang Baiji. Yi Hua, don't worry. Qing Ya and I will take good care of you. In this lifetime, we will never leave you. Donghuang Baiji promised. Looking at how much pain Yi Hua was in, she felt very uncomfortable in her heart. For a man who was originally so strong to suddenly lose everything, who would be able to accept such a blow? Yi Hua expressed that he was feeling very good right now. This is the effect that I wanted. Gradually, Yi Hua's expression calmed down. However, Yi Hua's expression was no longer as lively as it was in the past. Yi Hua. The two women shouted out worriedly. Yi Hua laughed at himself. I didn't expect that I would become a cripple. No, you will always be big and tall in my heart. Qing Ya tightly hugged onto Yi Hua's arm. The arm that was strong in the past was no longer there. Donghuang Baiji nodded her head. That's right, as long as you are still alive, you will be my Donghuang Baiji's man in this lifetime. Donghuang Baiji. This supreme overlord's woman is indeed domineering. Donghuang Baiji. This supreme overlord allows you to get on my bed. Yi Hua let out a heavy sigh. You two don't have to console me anymore. Right now, this is a good opportunity for you two. If you two want to leave, then leave. I won't be able to stop you two. Yi Hua. I'm telling you. I won't leave in this lifetime. If you say something like that again. I'm going to cry. Qing Ya's speech was already incoherent. In actuality, she was already crying, but she couldn't think of how to threaten Yi Hua. Donghuang Baiji was even more formidable. If you say something like that again, I will let Ali listen to it and let Ali be the judge. Seeing that the two women were using such a matter to threaten him, Yi Hua almost laughed out loud. Endure it a bit more. Qing Ya Baiji, I appreciate your kind intentions, but with my current state. Before Yi Hua could finish speaking, Qing Ya interrupted him. Yi Hua, Baiji and I will be taking good care of you for the rest of our lives. Don't feel burdened. This is what we should be doing. What Qing Ya said is right. Yi Hua, you don't have to worry about anything. We will take care of everything. This feels great. I was waiting for you two to say this. Yi Hua remained silent for a long while, and in the end, he seemed to have compromised and said faintly, "I want to drink water." Dong Huang Baiji immediately passed the water over. "Right now, I really only have to move my mouth, and I don't even have to move my hands anymore. This feels great. Later on, I still have to smoke, I still have to drink, and I still have to take a bath. I have to take a bath at least 3 times a day, and I can't stop eating crayfish. Breakfast also needs to be rich and varied." Chapter 252. I, the Supreme Overlord, can finally enjoy the life of hugging beautiful women. Thinking about those family heads who have groups of wives and concubines, I really wonder how they managed to settle it back then. It must be very difficult. Fortunately, I have a good brain, and with the cooperation of a group of powerful subordinates, I was able to subdue them with a snap of my fingers. I am thinking too much. Other family heads only need to shake their bodies, and beautiful ladies will immediately flock to them. There is no need to make such a big scene. Of course, that depends on who the person is. People like Yi Hua who are picky and possess unparalleled power will not use that method, and Qingya and Donghuang Baiji will not fall for it either. Yi Hua can do it forcefully, but in exchange, he will only get 2 soulless bodies. As a perfectionist, Yi Hua cannot accept such a method. Although the process is a bit risky, the reward is full of love. Just like right now. Yi Hua said faintly, "I want to take a bath." "The 2 of you hurry up and help me take a bath. Wei Cheng's method is really good." Qingya and Donghuang Baiji went into a daze, and their faces became a bit red. Yi Hua's heart sunk. I am already like this, and they are unwilling to take a bath? In actuality, the 2 beauties are just shy. Thinking about it, I have only seen him openly that night, and I have never done anything else. "Forget it, you 2 can leave, I will do it myself," Yi Hua said coldly. "I am very angry, the kind that can't be coaxed." Qingya hurriedly said, "Don't be angry, I will help you take a bath." "I will have to trouble you then, Qingya. I will help Yi Hua take a bath next time," Donghuang Baiji said shyly. Comparatively speaking, Qingya was still fine. After all, they have been sharing a bed for so long, but Donghuang Baiji was not so lucky. Yi Hua felt that something is wrong. Why aren't the 2 of you together? And you still want to separate? However, let's settle down first. We will talk about it tonight. Sleeping together is definitely a must, right? Right now, Qingya is no longer an ordinary woman. She carried Yi Hua in her arms, and the scene was very touching, giving people the urge to laugh. Yi Hua, who was being carried in Qingya's arms, felt a bit embarrassed. I am actually being carried by a woman in such a position. You are not allowed to look at me. If you look, I will kill you. After placing Yi Hua into the bathtub, Qingya's face became slightly red, and she began filling the bathtub with water. Yi Hua felt so comfortable that he wanted to moan. If only Donghuang Baiji was here to serve me as well. Right now, I'm just a fly in the ointment. Yi Hua, you can be at ease. I won't leave you just because you lost all of these, Qingya said tenderly while lightly wiping Yi Hua's palm. Yi Hua let out a heavy sigh. I still have to put on an act. After all, I can't accept it in a short period of time. I have to put on an act for 1 to 2 days. Yi Hua said faintly, for the sake of you all, what's the harm in losing a bit? Acting again. I know that you are definitely in a bad mood. If you want to cry, then go ahead and cry. After all, we are already an old couple. Qingya smiled warmly. Yi Hua felt that Qingya was indeed much gentler than before. That careful look of hers seemed to be afraid of hurting him. I'm so conflicted. If I were to let them know that this is all fake, I would be done for. It seemed like he had to slowly recover. He couldn't keep pretending, or else they might see through him one day. However, for Qingya to actually make me cry, that is impossible. I, the Supreme Overlord, have never cried before. Even if I am acting, I will not cry. He quietly condensed a drop of water in the corner of his eye. Damn it, for the sake of my acting career, I don't even care about my face anymore. Qingya, if you are to still be mischievous in the future, I will definitely not let you off easily. From the moment she saw Yi Hua, he had always been that kind of cold and aloof man. She had to listen to him for everything, and he would get angry whenever he was unhappy. However, that was only under the situation where he had the strength. Right now, he had nothing left, and his heart was definitely feeling unbearable and painful. Looking at Yi Hua's tear, Qing Ye's heart was simply about to shatter into pieces. Back then, such a strong man didn't even reveal an expression of pain even after receiving such a heavy injury. Now that there was no one else around, he finally couldn't hold it in anymore. Yi Hua's fake tear produced 10,000 critical damage, completely breaking through Qing Ye's line of defense. As expected of the best male lead, Qing Ye, who had tears all over her face, kissed Yi Hua. This scene was very beautiful. However, it was only for an instant, because the corner of Yi Hua's mouth revealed out an arc. Her lips still had the same taste, soft, and right now, there was even a unique aura that caused me, the Supreme Overlord, to be even more intoxicated. However, Yi Hua really wanted to hug onto her slender waist, but he was unable to do that. Yi Hua thought to himself that my hands should quickly recover, but if my hands were to recover, I would have to do a lot of things by myself. I might as well say that my hands are only slightly recovered, and I can't do any heavy work, but I can still stroke my hands a little. Thinking up to here, Yi Hua seemed to have a new plan. Qing Ye wiped very carefully, and that gentle look on her face caused even Yi Hua to be intoxicated. After all, Qing Ye was no longer an ordinary person right now, and right now, there was a unique aura of a monarch between her brows. Right now, Qing Ye was just like a woman who was supposed to be arrogant, but right now, she was lowering her status to serve you. Comfortable after Yi Hua finished showering, Qing Ye carried Yi Hua out of the bathroom again, and the scene was too embarrassing for others to look at. Yi Hua also felt that it wasn't good to continue hugging Yi Hua like this. Qing Ye, let's buy a wheelchair. Yi Hua suggested. Qing Ye said lightly, you don't like me hugging you? Seems like there are good and bad things about being paralyzed. Qing Ye could be seen laughing lightly. All right, I know that you want face, I will buy a wheelchair for you later. After finished speaking, Qing Ye kissed onto Yi Hua's forehead, then walked out of the bedroom. After Qing Ye left, Yi Hua suddenly sat up, and the arc on the corner of his mouth became bigger and bigger. I really want to F*** King shout out. Suddenly, the door opened. Yi Hua immediately fell onto the ground, and he looked as if he was about to die. Dong Huang Baiji walked into the room while carrying a bowl of porridge. Are you still okay? Dong Huang Baiji placed the porridge on the bedside table and sat on the bedside. Yi Hua's heart was itching just by looking at the curves of her body. Speaking of which, since Qing Yao is pregnant and can't move, then Baiji should be able to move, right? Thinking about how I haven't moved for a few months, I am getting a bit restless. Seems like I can't continue being paralyzed for a long time. I should first enjoy this for a period of time, then let Dong Huang Baiji continue giving birth to my children. Right now, Yi Hua could only move his head and he said calmly, I am much better. Drink some porridge. Yi Hua nodded his head. Dong Huang Baiji slowly helped Yi Hua up and leaned against the headboard of the bed. Dong Huang Baiji even used a technique to stabilize Yi Hua's body. This is clearly a sealing technique. Dong Huang Baiji lightly blew on the porridge and said embarrassedly, Yi Hua, this is my first time cooking. If it doesn't taste good, don't blame me, but I will slowly learn. Very good. My efforts were not wasted. In the future you have to be obedient. And I understand. Dong Huang Baiji replied shyly. I'm just asking you if you feel good or not. To think that such an unyielding woman like her was trained by me to be obedient and obedient. Looking at the porridge that Dong Huang Baiji extended over, Yi Hua took a look and was immediately startled. Why does the porridge look a bit black? It's burnt. Baiji, I suddenly discovered that I'm not hungry anymore. Yi Hua didn't have the heart to expose his woman's intentions. Dong Huang Baiji immediately understood and said tenderly, I will go and make another porridge for you. Looking at Dong Huang Baiji leave, Yi Hua stretched out his hand and wiped his hair. With just a slight hint from me, they immediately understood and obediently went to do it. Chapter 253. After quite a while, Dong Huang Baiji came in while carrying the freshly made porridge. Yi Hua, it's done this time. It's indeed done. It looks like porridge. After blowing on the porridge was sent into Yi Hua's mouth. After tasting Dong Huang Baiji's cooking for the first time, Yi Hua's eyebrows almost stood up. This porridge is even more salty than salted fish. This porridge is definitely salt instead of sugar. Yihua, what happened to you? Are you hurting somewhere? Donghuang Baiji cried out in surprise and immediately checked Yihua's body. Water, water. After drinking a mouthful of water, Yihua let out a sigh. Baiji, there is something called takeout in this world, you should be able to go and find out about it. Yihua, takeout food is not hygienic. I will work hard and let you taste my cooking. Yihua was very gratified and said, Baiji, I am very happy that you can think like this, but the food that you make, you have to taste it yourself first, do you understand? Alright, I understand. Stay and accompany me to sleep tonight. Yihua finally set out his ultimate goal, which was to hug a woman on his left and right to sleep. Just thinking about it makes me a little excited. Donghuang Baiji was very embarrassed, then said while slightly lowering her head, I have discussed it with Qingya, we will take turns to accompany you. Tonight, Qingya will accompany you, and tomorrow night, I will accompany you. Yihua's expression stiffened. When did you discuss it? Why didn't you discuss it with me? Such an important matter, you two actually secretly decided on it. If that's the case, wouldn't all of my efforts have been wasted? No, I don't agree to take turns. I want to do it together. At this moment, Qingya pushed the wheelchair that she just bought and walked into the room, then said with a gentle smile, What are you two chatting about? You came at the right time. I wanted to talk about this serious matter. After all, I have two such beautiful wives, if I can't hug them to sleep at night, wouldn't I be at a loss? Furthermore, after doing so much, I just want to experience the feeling of hugging a woman on my left and right. Both of you come and sit here. Yihua said faintly. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji took a glance at each other, then sat at the bedside. They were curious about what Yihua was going to do. Yihua said very straightforwardly, Both of you stay tonight. The moment he said that, the faces of the two goddesses immediately turned red, but they did not immediately object. In the end, it was still Qingya who said, Yihua, we have already discussed it with Baiji. In the future, we will carefully take care of you for your entire life, and we will also be your woman for your entire life. However, regarding the matter of sharing a bed with you, can you not force us? Yihua, other than sharing the same bed, we can promise you anything. Donghuang Baiji also pleaded. It was already very rare for them to share a husband, but to have three of them share a bed, this was something they were very resistant to. It's over. My fantasy of hugging a woman on my left and hugging a woman on my right has been shattered. I, the Supreme Overlord, created such a big show, and yet, I still didn't manage to move them to death. Looking at the disappointed look on Yihua's face, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji's heart ached endlessly. Logically speaking, since Yihua had risked his life to come and save us, no matter what, we have to agree to it. After all, Yihua and Donghuang Baiji were already husband and wife. It just so happened that the two women's self-esteem was the kind that was bursting to the point of bursting, and it was already a miracle that they were able to tolerate each other. Yet, Yihua still wanted the two of them to be together? Yihua was simply dreaming. The two of them were not ordinary women. Yihua, I beg of you, don't make things difficult for us. Donghuang Baiji was so sad that she started crying. Qingya was the same as well. Yihua, don't be like this, I feel uncomfortable seeing you like this. I, the Supreme Overlord, was feeling very vexed. If I had known earlier, I would have died for a few days before reviving. I reckon that only then would it have been effective. However, it is already too late now. Act once more? The effect will definitely not be good. What I want is to hug a woman on my left and hug a woman on my right. Why can't the two of you satisfy this small wish of mine? Sigh, I understand. I won't make things difficult for the two of you. Yihua compromised. No, this is a temporary compromise. Yihua formulated his final plan, which was to hug a woman on his left and hug a woman on his right, and then look for an opportunity. Playing the hero to save the beauty and injuring oneself to gain sympathy definitely won't work. I have to think of another way. Seeing that Yihua didn't make things difficult for the two of them, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji leaned forward and kissed onto Yihua's cheeks. Although I won't be able to hug a woman on my right and left, it still feels great. Baiji, you go and deal with your own matters first. I will be fine with Yihua here. Qingya said concernedly. After all, with Voidless Realm in such a state, it would be very inconvenient for Voidless Realm to not have the Empress to oversee it. Dong Huang Baiji's heart had already been snatched away by Yi Hua, so how could she possibly leave at this time? No need. Baiji, you go and deal with your own matters first. If the two of you keep looking at me like this, I won't be fine either. Yi Hua said. Right now, both the north and south are my people. Things will be much easier. Dong Huang Baiji still listened to Yi Hua and said tenderly, I will be back soon then. After finished speaking, Dong Huang Baiji kissed onto Yi Hua's forehead, then disappeared from the room. After Dong Huang Baiji left, Qingye smiled tenderly. Are you happy? I am happy. After finished speaking, Yi Hua felt that something was wrong. I am already paralyzed. How can I still be happy? Yi Hua hurriedly explained, I am very happy to be able to protect the two of you from harm, even if I ended up like this. This desire to live sure is strong. Lightly leaning onto Yi Hua's embrace, Qingye said softly, Yi Hua, have I been very disobedient in the past? You still know? If the two of you are a bit more obedient, I will be able to be at ease. And in the future, I won't make you angry anymore. Qingye, I am very happy to be able to have this kind of awareness. Qingye smiled tenderly and mumbled, Yi Hua, you are the best. My goodness is something that you all can't think of. If you all can think of it, then I don't need to live in this world anymore. Speaking of which, isn't it time for me to take a bath again? After returning to Voidless Realm, Dong Huang Baiji put away her gentle face and displayed the might of an empress. She passed down orders one after another and began rebuilding Voidless Realm. In the palace, there were already 5 elders missing. All of them had sacrificed themselves in the battle this time. Only Yuan De, Xing Han, and He Xian were left. Dong Huang Baiji sat on the throne and asked gravely, What is the result of the battle this time? Replying to your majesty, in this battle, Voidless Realm lost 3,871 people, 3,712 people were heavily injured, 2,183 people were lightly injured, and the remaining 893 people are unharmed. He Xian reported gravely. Dong Huang Baiji's beautiful eyes revealed out killing intent as she shouted out coldly. From now on, Ying family will be my Voidless Realm's sworn enemy. With the surname Dong Huang, I swear that I will definitely take revenge for Voidless Realm's dead souls and bathe Ying family in blood. The 3 elders kneeled down simultaneously and shouted out, Bathing family in blood. Soon after, Xing Han raised his own opinion. Your Majesty, in this battle, Ying family suffered a huge loss as well. More than half of their clansmen were killed, and if it wasn't for someone helping them, they would have been completely annihilated. That's right, if it wasn't for that shadowy figure and skeletal dragon, we would have definitely won. However, Your Majesty, you still have to pay attention to the people hiding in the dark. He Xian reminded. The Empress is finally thinking about men. This is truly a good thing. This year, the Empress would be able to get pregnant, and the child would be born next year. When the child reached adulthood, the child would awaken the power of his bloodline. When Dong Huang Baiji appeared in the bedroom, the crayfish was already in position. Dong Huang Li's big eyes were already red. Dong Huang Li seemed to have just finished crying. Seeing that her mother had arrived, Dong Huang Li immediately pounced onto her mother. Ali, what's wrong? Dong Huang Baiji said with a smile while carrying her daughter. Daddy said that he won't be able to move anymore. He won't be able to hug Ali anymore. Dong Huang Li once again started crying pitifully. Dong Huang Baiji consoled. Ali, don't worry, Daddy will be fine in the future. Papa said the same thing just now, but I know you are all comforting Ali. Dong Huang Baiji looked towards Yi Hua with an astonished look in her eyes. Yi Hua, who was sitting on the wheelchair, said with a slight smile. Just now, I felt that there was spiritual energy condensing within my body again. I believe that I will be able to fully recover in a short while. Yi Hua changed his battle tactic. He first prepared himself well to prevent himself from being discovered. Just now, I have checked Yi Hua's body, and there is indeed a small lump of spiritual energy within Yi Hua's body. This is a good start. Dong Huang Baiji confirmed for a while, and sure enough, it was just as Yi Hua said. Tears began flowing out of Dong Huang Baiji's eyes as she hugged Yi Hua and said excitedly, This is great. Don't cry. Ali is looking at you. Yi Hua let out a sigh of relief. Dong Huang Li looked at Yi Hua and said, Mommy, will Daddy be fine? And, Daddy will be fine. After getting her mother's affirmation, Dong Huangli became happy. That's great. Daddy will be able to hug Ali and raise her up high again. Ali, peel the crayfish for Daddy. Dong Huang Baiji sat down, wiped away the tears of joy, and began peeling the crayfish for Yi Hua. Daddy, open your mouth. Little Ali picked up the crayfish meat and fed it to her father. Yi Hua, here, Qingye said tenderly. Yi Hua, here, Dong Huang Baiji said with a gentle smile. I dare to say that in this world, there isn't a man who is more blessed than me. However, I have already laid the foundation for everything. When the time comes, I will just have to find an opportunity to make a move. Everything is so reasonable. There aren't any loopholes at all. Where are Yutong and Zizi? Qingye said with a slight smile. They went out to eat. Originally, Aunt He came to ask Ali to go with them, but Ali wanted to accompany Daddy, so Ali refused. Dong Huangli said happily. What Dong Huangli meant was, Daddy, quickly come and praise Ali. Ali is so obedient. Yi Hua naturally had to praise Ali. Dong Huangli said with a happy look on her face. Didn't Yutong say that she is going to do a live stream? Why hasn't she done anything yet? Yi Hua asked curiously. Qingye shook her head. Who knows, she has a new idea every day. It's going to be September soon. Yi Zizi should be sent to school. Don't always stay at home and play games. Yi Hua said gravely. Right now, Yi Zizi's temperament is more or less the same as before. Qingye nodded her head. Ali wants to go to school and learn knowledge too. Dong Huangli shouted out. Dong Huang Baiji laughed tenderly. Ali is not at the age to go to school yet. Then, when can Ali go to school? Dong Huangli asked curiously. Dong Huang Baiji pinched onto her daughter's cheeks. After Ali's 3rd birthday, she will be able to go to kindergarten. Kindergarten? But Aunt Yi said that she is in the 2nd grade of elementary school. And Ali wants to go to school together with Aunt Yi. If not, I won't go to school. Dong Huangli pouted her small mouth. Her goal was to go to school together with Yi Zizi. Looking at Dong Huangli's adorable look, the three laughed lightly. Ali is so sensible. It doesn't matter if she doesn't go to kindergarten. Yi Hua said faintly. Yi Zizi going to school was to cultivate her humanity, and her daughter didn't need to go to school at all. Qingye had a different opinion. How can that be? Kindergarten is the beginning of school. It's not like I haven't gone to school, and I still have my current achievements. Yi Hua, who was sitting on a wheelchair, said. Those who haven't gone to school are sitting on a wheelchair. You sure have a lot of twisted logic. Qingye laughed lightly. What kind of attitude is this? Just a few hours ago, you said that you want to be obedient. Yi Hua said faintly. Just how long has it been, and you are already going against me? Qingye immediately smiled apologetically. All right, I was wrong. Dong Huangli looked to the left and to the right, appearing to be in deep thoughts. Chapter 255. Dong Huang Baiji held on to the cigarette, while Qingye lit the cigarette. Yi Hua sat in the posture of a big boss and enjoyed a different kind of service. Baiji, is there any result on your side? Yi Hua asked curiously. I don't know what voidless realm is thinking. Dong Huang Baiji held onto the cigarette butt and said faintly, This Ying family must be eradicated. The corner of Yi Hua's mouth slightly moved. This Ying family is my subordinate. Although they are a bit weak, at the very least, they are still somewhat useful. For example, during the performance this time that Ying Jingshan's performance was pretty good. It would be a pity to eliminate them just like that. Fortunately, this time around, Wei Chong and Lai Gu were the ones taking action. If Death Mage was the one taking action, he wouldn't be able to give his woman any pressure. The result was that his woman couldn't fight with the Ying family, but she could have the other families fight and kill each other. That would be quite interesting. Qingye silently said, That shadowy figure seems to be very powerful, and that bone dragon too. Yi Hua couldn't help but nod his head. He seemed to be telling Dong Huang Baiji not to touch Ying family for the time being. Although Ying family is insignificant, it is still somewhat useful. However, after Yi Hua nodded his head, Dong Huang Baiji asked curiously, Yi Hua, that shadowy figure heavily injured you. Could it be that you are going to let him off so easily? That's right. That shadowy man is really despicable. I didn't perform well. It's been too long since I fought. Seeing that Yi Hua wanted to save face, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji smiled tenderly. Yi Hua exclaimed out loud, "What a close shave. I would have been discovered just by a slight bit of inattention." "Baiji, do you have any good ideas?" Qingya asked curiously. Upon thinking of a method, Donghuang Baiji's beautiful face immediately turned red. Furthermore, it was a very red kind of red. "Smoke, smoke," Yi Hua reminded. Donghuang Baiji extended the cigarette butt to Yi Hua's mouth and let Yi Hua take a puff. "Dare I ask which man is as happy as me? My wife lights up the cigarettes, my other wife sends the cigarettes over, and I only have to move my mouth." "There is a way." Donghuang Baiji flicked away the ash from her cigarette and said with a red face. This caused Yi Hua to go into a daze. "My woman actually has a solution? How could that do? Hurry up and dispel her idea. This shadowy figure and the bone dragon are not easy to deal with. Let me cultivate for a few hundred years first. When that time comes, I will avenge you, Baiji." Who knew what it would be like after a few hundred years? Donghuang Baiji said shyly, "This method of mine will only take around 10 years. "Baiji, just say it, your face is already so red." Qingya was left in suspense. The more Donghuang Baiji acted like this, the more curious Qingya became. Donghuang Baiji bit onto her lower lip and mumbled, "This method of mine requires Yi Hua's cooperation." "What do you mean? You want me to cooperate with you?" "If that's the case, my main body will definitely not cooperate with you. Maybe I'll consider it a few hundred years later." "Aya, Baiji, I'm so worried about you. My voidless realm belongs to the Eastern Emperor's bloodline, and if one wants to inherit the Eastern Emperor's bloodline, one must be a male. Meanwhile, Ali is a female, and thus, she is unable to inherit the Eastern Emperor's bloodline, therefore." Speaking up to here, Donghuang Baiji's face was about to bleed. Yi Hua finally understood and said faintly, "So, you want Ali to become a boy? I won't allow it. Girls are pretty good. Quickly give up on this idea." The two women were immediately amused by Yi Hua. This blockhead actually doesn't know what he means. "What are you two laughing at? I am talking about this matter very seriously. Be more serious." Yi Hua shouted out in a low voice. Donghuang Baiji extinguished Yi Hua's cigarette petulantly. "Do you even want me to explain this matter clearly? It's fine as long as you understand what I mean." Yi Hua immediately wrinkled his brows. "I haven't even taken 2 puffs of this cigarette and you already extinguished it. What a waste. Hurry up and give it to me." "Yi Hua, just smoke less. What Baiji means is for you to help her give birth to a boy." Qingya smiled helplessly. "Sometimes I am extremely smart but sometimes I am half stupid. All right, I take back what I thought just now. This method must be strongly advocated and fully cooperated with. After all, I am an expert in giving birth to a child. Baiji, just say it directly. We will start tonight." Yi Hua couldn't wait to start right now. These two women are becoming more and more enchanting. Qingya teased, "Baiji can do it, can you?" "Who said I can't?" Yi Hua suddenly thought of something. "I am currently acting as a paralyzed person. F***K. This is all Wei Chang's rotten idea. Right now my wife has a need for me, so I have no choice but to continue acting. I will be fine after I recover," Yi Hua said while stammering. "We have only chatted for a short while, and we are already about to expose ourselves twice." Donghuang Baiji felt that Yi Hua was rather sad, and thought that Yi Hua was sad because of her injury. Thus, Donghuang Baiji consoled Yi Hua. "It's all right, take it slow, it's not like I will run away." These words sound very comfortable. "Just wait for me. I will be able to pamper you at any time. However, I have to be fair and not wrong Qingya. The most pitiful thing is that I can't hug one on the left and one on the right. If I were to place both of them on the bed, then... just thinking about it makes me a little excited. I didn't expect that there would be times where I would be excited. This is truly mystical. Daddy." Ali finished watching Calabash Brothers. Dong Huangli bounced over and was carried into her mother's embrace. Yi Hua laughed lightly. "Ali, after watching Calabash Brothers, go and watch Snow White." Daddy will test you when the time comes. All right, Ali loves tests the most. Patting onto her daughter's head, Dong Huang Baiji said, All right, Daddy is going to rest now. Let's accompany Daddy to sleep tomorrow, okay? All right, Aunt Qing, Daddy will be handed over to you. Qingya also smiled tenderly. Okay, Aunt Qing will definitely serve your papa well. Qingya pushed Yi Hua back to the bedroom. Yi Hua's first sentence was, I want to take a bath. Why didn't I see you taking a bath so diligently in the past? Qingya carried Yi Hua up. This caused Yi Hua to feel extremely gloomy. The main thing is that Qingya is carrying me like a princess. This is so awkward. I have decided to take a bath 3 times a day. Once in the morning, once at noon, and once at night. Qingya laughed. Yi Hua, are you trying to tire me to death? Let me stink to death then. You are already like this, but your temper still hasn't changed at all. Qingya placed Yi Hua into the bathtub and began filling up the bathtub with hot water. Qingya, don't you want to take a bath? Come over and join us. Yi Hua has a purpose. How can I take a bath for nothing? Qingya rolled her eyes at Yi Hua. I will take a bath myself later. Sigh, I can't move my hands and feet either, if not, I would skin you. Qingya blinked her mischievous eyes. That's right, I can bully you now. Qingya, what are you trying to do? Yi Hua was startled and felt that the situation wasn't good. Qingya revealed out a crafty smile. Yi Hua, you have bullied me for so long, now that I finally have the chance to bully you, let me bully you too. You dare. If you dare to touch me, I will. Go on and cry if you cry, I will not bully you anymore. Qingya, don't forget that I saved the 2 of you, and even got paralyzed and lost my power. You cannot pinch my face. Qingya's hands were currently pinching Yi Hua's face, making Yi Hua make all kinds of faces. Wei Cheng, this is all your good idea. Chapter 256. Under Yi Hua's threatening gaze, Qingya kissed Yi Hua to comfort him. I like your way of apologizing, but I hope that we can have a bath together. Do you dare or not? However, he did not achieve his dream. After quite a while, Yi Hua was carried onto the bed by Qingya, and after pinching onto Yi Hua's cheeks, Qingya said sweetly, Yi Hua, when you have fully recovered, I will take a bath together with you. All right, I don't want to be paralyzed anymore. No. This cunning Qingya is definitely trying to test me. How can I possibly fall for it? Besides, she was his wife. Would it kill him to look at her? After a long while, Qingya appeared in front of Yi Hua's eyes while wearing thin pajamas. Upon seeing Qingya, Yi Hua became very angry. Any normal man who saw Qingya's delicate body would definitely have some thoughts, especially the current Qingya, who was even more beautiful than before. In order to act as a paralyzed man, I, the Supreme Overlord, can't even move my hands now. In the past, even if I couldn't see my hands, I could still enjoy my hands. Lying on her beloved man's chest, Qingya said tenderly, Yi Hua, I like you so much. Yi Hua went into a slight daze, and at the same time, a feeling of guilt welled up within him. I don't know what will happen if I confess. Forget it. Leniency for confessing was a lie. Qingya, after you give birth to this child, let's have another one. Qingya rubbed against Yi Hua's chest and said lazily, And I will listen to you. As expected of my woman, obedient. Although Yi Hua felt a little guilty, he felt that he was feeling very good right now. Thinking back to the past, he felt that he had never felt so good before. Qingya smiled sweetly. Look at how complacent you are you satisfied now? Satisfied. Satisfied. All right, go to sleep. You're already tired today. Yi Hua nodded his head. I can finally have a good sleep today. Tomorrow, it will be Dong Huang Baiji's turn to accompany me to sleep. I, the Supreme Overlord, am very happy about this. To express the joy in his heart? Forget it. I'll wait until I have 2 beauties in my arms. Then I'll pardon the world. If Yi Hua were to grant amnesty to the entire world right now, Long Outyen would be the one who would feel the best. In the thatched cottage, Long Outyen was ready to set off again. In just a month, Long Outyen had managed to raise his dragon god technique to the 3rd stage. One could not help but admit that he was a genius. Nonsense. If Long Outyen didn't work harder on his cultivation, how would he be able to go to the city and make a name for himself? How would he have a harem of 3,000 beauties? Meng Meng. I don't know when we'll meet again after today, Long Outyen said as he hugged the woman in his arms. Meng Meng hugged Long Outyen's tiger body and said, Outyen, no matter how long it takes, Meng Meng will wait for you. Meng Meng, you are so nice. Can you prepare more antidote for me? Long Outyen's tone was a little awkward. This Meng Meng was too good to him. This love goo was the best among all goo. Aotion, these are all of Meng Meng's antidotes. When you come back 1 year later, at that time there will be a lot of antidotes. Meng Meng was very reluctant to part with Aotion. A man's ambition was to travel far and wide, and her own 4 directions was only him. Long Outyen heaved a heavy sigh. Meng Meng, take good care of yourself. I'll bring you out after I make a name for myself. Yes, Meng Meng will wait for that day. All right, I'm leaving. Outyen. Looking at Long Outyen's departing figure, Meng Meng burst into tears. Walking out of the thatched cottage, Long Outyen clenched his fist. Right now, my Dragon God technique has already reached the 3rd level. No matter if it is my speed or my strength, both of them have increased by a level. In the end, I still have to thank that assassin. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been able to reach the 3rd level in such a short amount of time. After walking for close to a kilometer, Long Outyen shouted loudly, Come out! Right now, Long Outyen had already taken off his modern clothes and was wearing a cyan robe that Meng Meng personally made. Needless to say, Long Outyen was a little handsome. Death Assassin instantly appeared in front of Long Outyen like a specter, giving Long Outyen a fright. I am currently at the 3rd level of Dragon God technique. It's not that I, Long Outyen, am bragging, but you are no longer my opponent now. If you are tactful, hurry up and scram, I'll spare your life. Long Outyen began to brag, but in actuality, he was extremely nervous in his heart. GGG, Imperial Translation. Salted fish, if you don't train your Dragon God technique to the pinnacle, don't even think about leaving this place. Not knowing what Death Assassin was laughing about, Long Outyen stood in a horse stance and shouted lightly. The leaves in the surrounding immediately flew up, and Long Outyen even pointed at Death Assassin and shouted loudly, Come over! Death Assassin let out a light sigh, then pulled out a dagger from his waist and stabbed Long Outyen. Long Outyen's expression became grave. Death Assassin's speed is indeed fast. However, the present is different from the past. I, Long Outyen, am no longer that small fry from back then. His body flashed. Death Assassin was a little surprised. This Long Outyen's improvement speed is quite fast. Long Outyen was a little dazed as he touched onto his hair, then inspected his clothes. I remember that my hair was cut off by Death Assassin last time, but today, I am actually not injured at all. This is great. I, Long Outyen, have finally dodged his attack. When I reach the 4th level, I will be able to defeat him. Without thinking too much, Long Outyen turned around and ran. Just you wait, I, Long Outyen, will still be back. Death Assassin did not chase after Long Outyen and looked at Long Outyen running frantically. After running to the front of the thatched cottage, Long Outyen gasped for breath. When he was dodging Death Assassin's attack just now, he had used too much of his essence, chi and spirit, causing him to be unable to breathe. Pushing open the wooden door, Long Outyen laughed loudly and said, Meng Meng, I'm not leaving any more. Outyen, I have already made the noodles for you. Quickly eat it while it's hot. Meng Meng could be seen walking over while holding on to the noodles that were just made. The timing was just right. Not knowing if it was because of warmth or because of heartache, Long Outyen had the urge to cry. If not for the matter that happened earlier, Long Outyen would have suspected that Meng Meng was the one who arranged the assassin. While eating the love noodles, Long Outyen's tears flowed down, not knowing if it was because he was moved or because of heartache. After eating the noodles, I will properly love Meng Meng and continue training. I, Long Outyen, must live up to my name. In the future, I will definitely conquer the entire world and make everyone tremble under my feet. I will also make Qingya regret that she did not choose me, Long Outyen, and chose a man who likes to smoke and act cool. His way of acting cool is too low level. I, Long Outyen, will never imitate him in my entire life. Meng Meng, where did my cigarette go? Here, You can only smoke 1 cigarette per day. After lighting up the cigarette, Long Outyen felt very comfortable, as if the entire world was his. Right now, it was already late at night, and in a dark alley in Longan City, there were a few figures. Among them, 2 were the delicate and charming Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi. Qing Yutong was disguised as a big sister again. After all, her current status had not expired yet. Yi Zizi was still dressed in lowly attire, and Yi Zizi really wanted to grab onto the ponytail at the back of her head and ride it ferociously. Chapter 257. Yi Zizi's saliva flowed out from her mouth. Tell big sister Qing to leave for a while. I am going to eat. The few robust men had never seen this beautiful woman before, and this little lowly, she is simply like a big sister from the anime. Those big eyes of hers caused us to become beastly. Little sister, big brother has lollipops here, they are very tasty. The robust man slightly bent his waist and teased Yi Zizi, and the few robust men behind him laughed out loud. Qing Yutong protected Yi Zizi behind her. What are you guys trying to do? If you have something to say, then come at me. Big beauty, don't be anxious. I will let you know how powerful Big Brother's battle strength is, how deep my martial arts are, and I am also proficient in 108 rare finishing moves. The robust man walked closer step by step with a lascivious smile on his face. Qing Yutong scolded in a low voice. Shameless villain! My teeth are very white. Yi Zizi said in a low voice. Big sister Qing, how about you leave for a while and let Zizi play? Zizi, you are too disloyal. Hey, the 2 of you don't need to discuss anymore, come at me together. The robust man poked his hands together. He was already a little impatient. This pair of big and small beauties can fight until dawn. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi continuously retreated. That fearful expression made the robust men even more excited. They liked to see this kind of expression on other people. Right at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi looked at that figure. The figure had a cigarette in his mouth, a calm expression, and both of his hands were in his pockets. The man could be seen glancing at them, then continuing to walk. Brat, consider yourself mistaken. The robust man thought that a hero came to save the beauty, but in the end, he did not have the guts to pretend to be a passerby. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi had never seen a man who could act cool like this before. He is simply invincible. Hey, why didn't you save us? Qing Yutong was puzzled, and shouted out. The man blew out a mouthful of smoke towards the sky. Why should I save you guys? Damn, this man is truly arrogant. Seeing that the man stopped walking, the robust man shouted out threateningly. Brat, quickly scram, don't disturb Grandpa's happy occasion. Yi Zizi asked pitifully, Big brother, why didn't you save us? The man snorted and said disdainfully, It's kind of me to help you call the police when I see this kind of thing. It's normal for me to walk over. After all, I'm not the Virgin Mary. I don't save anyone I see. Big brother, you won't have a girlfriend in the future if you act like this. Yi Zizi pouted. She was going to suck you dry later. Who asked you to act like a pretentious prick? Qing Yutong also agreed. That's right, he didn't even want the chance to be a hero and save the beauty. Do you think I'm stupid? Just by looking at your clothes, I know you're some rich young ladies. If I save you now, you'll probably ask me to be your bodyguard, and then a touching love story will happen. I won't fall for it. The expressions of Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi froze, and the few muscular men were also shocked. We have never seen someone who is so good at bragging before. TSK. How dare you molest a young girl in broad daylight? I'm going to take care of this matter. A man descended from the sky like the wind, especially that stalwart figure. Wow, big sister Qing, he's so handsome. Yeah, so handsome. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi were like 2 infatuated girls, and they had an intoxicated look on their faces. This caused the man with the cigarette to be stupefied. You 2 became infatuated just because of this? This trick is too old, isn't it? This is a trick from a few years ago. Songji slowly turned his head around and looked towards the man with the cigarette, as if he was saying, although it's old, it's still a classic, you idiot. Sabai seemed to have understood, and he slowly walked over and said gravely, Brother, this is my place, don't interfere. Hee, weren't you acting cool just now? If you want to leave, leave quickly. Songji ruthlessly struck down on Sabai. This caused Sabai to be very depressed. Originally, he wanted to take a different route, but in the end, someone interfered halfway. The muscular men came back to their senses and shouted angrily, "You two little rabbits are tired of living. Brothers, attack. Kill them all." Song Ji snorted coldly, "Kneel down." A formless power pressed the muscular men onto the ground. The few muscular men immediately revealed a frightened look. Sabai snorted coldly, "Kneel down." Plop. The muscular men all kneeled down. "Kneel down. Call me Grandpa." Song Ji shouted gravely, "If you want to compete, then come." As expected, the muscular men kneeled down again and shouted out loudly, "Grandpa, Grandpa." Sabai was disdainful. "Let's compete then. Kneel down and bark like a dog." The muscular men could be seen kneeling down again. "Woof, woof, woof." "Kneel down. Call me Grandpa." "Kneel down. Bark like a dog." "Kneel down. Call me Grandpa." "Kneel down. Bark like a dog." Who could understand the bitterness in the muscular men's hearts? Gradually, blood flowed out from the corner of their mouths. Under such huge pressure, how could ordinary people continue to endure it? The few muscular men spurted out blood one after another and died with their eyes wide open. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi let out a long "Oh." "You two played him to death." Song Ji and Sabai didn't expect that the other party would die just like that, and they were slightly startled. "Big sister Qing, let's quickly call the police. A murder case happened here." Yi Zizi hurriedly shouted. "That's right, facing this kind of evil thing we have to resolutely stop it, and I also have to be a witness." "That Zizi also has to be a witness. Lock them up and send them to jail." Song Ji and Sabai were both speechless. "Didn't I do all of this to save you too?" "Young miss, is this a misunderstanding? I am also doing all of this to save you too." Song Ji persuaded with kind words, "It wouldn't be good if I really call the police." That's right, I am just a passerby." Sabai forced a smile. Yi Zizi snorted, "You two are murderers, you two have to pay with your lives." "Little friend, don't go too far. Otherwise." Sabai was also angry. "I saved you two out of kindness, and yet you two actually want to be a witness." Song Ji said in a low voice, "Brother, seems like they are determined to call the police. Let's just take one each. I want the small one, and leave the big one for you." Sabai remained silent for a while. "In any case, I am a person who got the 3 Merit Student Award. How can I agree to such a shameless question?" "All right, we will exchange again tomorrow." Song Ji patted onto Sabai's shoulder. "Brother, you sure are shameless enough." Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi instantly forced the 5 good young men to become criminals. "I am sincerely convinced." "What are you two doing? Don't come over, if not, I am going to scream." Qing Yutong hugged onto Yi Zizi and cried out in surprise. With a smile on their faces, Song Ji and Sabai said, "Go ahead and scream, even if you scream until your throat breaks, no one will save you too." "Save me, save me." Qing Yutong symbolically shouted out twice, and Yi Zizi licked the corner of her mouth. "These two are much more delicious than those people." Suddenly, the air was pervaded with the smell of blood, and this wasn't an ordinary smell of blood. It was very thick, and even Yi Zizi became interested. Song Ji and Sabai's expression changed, and without thinking much, they immediately ran. "Kneel down." The faint words were like 2 palms that pressed Song Ji and Sabai onto the ground, and a hole was smashed out from the cement floor. A lump of black fog could be seen suddenly appearing in the air, and the black fog gradually formed into a humanoid shape, and the humanoid shape became a middle-aged man who wore a suit. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi were both stupefied. What is this situation? Who are you? To actually dare to spoil my business?" Sabai shouted out angrily. The middle-aged man could be seen stretching out his right arm, and his entire right arm began squirming, just like a worm. In an instant, his entire right arm turned into a terrifying monster, and with a single bite, the middle-aged man swallowed Sabai whole. You. Just who are you?" Song Ji was already scared to the point that he peed in his pants. Looking at the rows of sharp teeth and the mucus that was dripping down, the middle-aged man simply looked like an alien. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.